You gotta tell us that wasn't.
That's right.
How much?
Yeah, chance. Where that?
Yeah.
960, whatever it is. Over to the church and take a ride.
Here we are, back to recess.
It's 2101.
What is it? Still the 22nd day of June.
It goes all the way to the dam.
1 o'clock. Seems like a good thing. Yeah. We do have a form present, Sheriff, if you want to pick up wherever you want to.
Yes, sir. Thanks for having me. We're gonna go over the jail budget.
Who? Who budget?
Jay.
Taylor.
So what happens when you eat your lunch too fast?
And come back to this.
No, that's what happened right there. I looked at that, started choking.
Mm-hmm.
Which one? You got this one. Yes. All right. So that is gonna be, you'll have that in front of you.
Jail.
Yes, you go. All right.
Just curiosity, how many employees sheriff department have?
93.
93?
All right, so just to kind of throw this out there, any unlisted items that from this budget proposal sheet, we requested those to remain the same, any that are unlisted. Your salary, which is your 4101, 1105 line item, staff wages, increased from 2,215,615 to 2,550,000. This allows for a 3% COLA for each employee to be paid out of this line item. This increase also encompasses funding each position at a rate of 83 hours per pay period, rather than the former 86 hours previously funded. Each non-ranking jailer position is funded at the rate of jailer 4, so just like on the LE side or any other employee dispatch side, we fund them at the higher rate. Therefore, we don't ever have to come back and ask you for more money because the money is already there. Sir? Yeah, gotcha. On county longevity, with the number of employees back there that have been there, it goes from 8,625 to 10,500. And we'll double check that with the treasurer's office, but that was the numbers that we came up with for the accuracy on that. Overtime wages, which is 4101, 1155. We request that be increased from 20,000 to 40,000. The overtime issue within the jail itself has been fairly well handled since I took office in January. However, overtime will still occur periodically when you have short shifts and you have to cover it, or other unforeseen personnel issues that may arise, training, sick, call-ins. Overtime is no longer handed out to the employees at will. It is used in circumstances when it's entirely needed.
And for the record, that's more request is basically a cushion. We don't see the overtime issues being an issue at all, barring any catastrophic event of just losing a mass number of employees where we've got to call people in on their days off, cover, whatever the case may be. That's basically just requested to be a heavy cushion at this point. If the court couldn't provide that amount of money, we would completely understand it.
We'll make it work.
Yeah, either way it goes, we can make it work.
Contract services is 3102, 2305.
So skip that.
Oh, I apologize. Bonds and insurance, it's gone up 10% as requested by the auditor from $50,050 to $55,000. And back to the 2305 line item, the contract services increased from 35,000 to 78,000. While this seems like a drastic increase, there is a very good reason for this. The jail currently has no body camera access for jailers. The original 35,000 allocated was placed to fund the Guardian RFID login system, which checks inmates, the Xerox machine in the booking area, and out-of-state prisoner transports. These are costly, and here lately we have been doing at least one a month. At the rate of anywhere from 1,500 to 2,500, somewhere in the range.
Annette Jarvis told us we'd done more this year than they did last year completely. So those costs of out of state ones, they run anywhere from $800 to $2,500 per transport. We typically get 3 quotes on each transport before we contract someone to do it. We always go with the cheaper one. There's one that always underbids everybody else by far, and we use them just about every time, but they're costly. There's more that actually goes into that, though. I think the county may actually get reimbursement out of that through other means, whether by restitution or payment from the prisoner himself or through whatever reason. The county does actually get some money back on out-of-state transports from time to time. Is that right?
You mean like the drug probation ones or the?
No, the wanted felons that are incarcerated in other states that we pay the transport companies to bring back.
I don't know if this to ever get any money from anybody but the state of Texas.
Okay, there is some type of reimbursement system set up for that. Mr. Pratt had talked to us about that a little bit several months back now. I don't know all the details of it, but there is actually some money that does come back to the county at some point, whether it's through the state or through restitution, however it is. I guarantee you it's not as much as what we pay for transports, but it is better than nothing, I guess.
So this line item also covers employee psychological exams, drug screens, physicals, etc. We've been keeping a pretty good handle on the folks that are either leaving or having to be terminated. That's a good thing. That keeps that cost down. But every time you do that, it's a cost. Every time you hire somebody new. Currently, they use the JPX pepper ball or pepper squirt guns, you should call them. I'm looking to move away from that. The previous administration was not purchasing proper equipment in the JPX aspect. The new Axon contract, which it's going to be simplified under us. We are getting like 12 to 14 different bills to different areas. The new contract, they're willing to renew it, give us new equipment that we need to for every employee, body cameras, tasers, training equipment, a couple of positions to go to the master instructor school. Everything comes with that under one bill. So you will pay one payment a year. You'll know ahead of time, this is how much per year that you're paying out of it, and for the length of a 5-year contract. Anytime anything new comes up, you get refurnished new equipment. I know
Exactly.
it's been tough for everybody because it's like IT's got a bill yesterday. They're like, I think that's y'all's, and so yeah, I mean it is. But when you send that many bills all over the place, it's hard to keep up with that.
So how much of that is attributable to that action contract?
The contract, the amount, it should be,
It's in the-
Judge, you have that other book. You mind if I take a look at that? Thank you.
Those are all, the sheriff submitted his regular budget. That binder is all the contracts or the bids for contract services that he submitted. Only made one copy of it to pass around. I'm trying to not billing the entire scores, but we'll be able to look at it, pass it around, and if you want a copy of it, we'll make a copy.
So your first payment would be due October of 25 under the new contract, and it's a payment of $35,817.96, and that is the same amount per year for 5 years. So one-time payment.
That was what I was explaining earlier when I told you we kept getting hit blindly with bills periodically through the year. We would get this random bill from Axon for $5,000 or $6,000 with literally no explanation of what the bill was for, which after research and making 100 phone calls, we find out it's for licensing, or we find out it's for storage, or we find out it's just for some deal that the previous sheriff made on a fleet camera for a dash camera for a squad car 2 years ago. I mean, there's no rhyme or reason to any of it. So Axon's new contract that we asked them to put together is a one-stop shop for the whole thing that explains it in detail, exactly what we're being billed for. We can't verify that the things that we're being billed for now, or even things that the sheriff's office ever even agreed to, but we know if we don't pay it, they'll cut it off. We have to have the body cameras and the dash cameras. We absolutely have to. So we renegotiated just about everything with Axon to make it easier on everybody from top to bottom.
So you feel like you've gone through everything in the sheriff's office contractually, when you know going forward what we're obligated for and what it is?
So if anything pops up, it's gonna be a fairly small amount, I would think, because the large amounts we found. And the ones that are not being used and utilized properly, we have canceled.
That's barring anything that comes up between now and the end of
No, I
September.
get it.
You know.
Could be something out of
Yeah.
that work you don't know about.
I mean, just a couple of weeks ago, we found a contract and we're like, what is that for?
Yeah, I had no idea.
And it's not being used, so obviously it's canceled. And there was no penalty on that. They just, okay, turn the service off. So.
So you're gonna have a contract for the jail, you could, and then you're gonna have one for the law enforcement.
Yes, ma'am. And when I finish this, I'm gonna give you a little sidebar and hopefully it makes you smile, because I know everybody's been throwing a bunch of numbers at you, so. I will continue. Yeah, I wouldn't do that. Let's
talk about the tasers.
I'll tell them at the end.
Okay, yeah.
Jail supplies, that is 4101, 3101. Jail supplies had a budget from last year of $1,000. We're asking it to go to 4,000. This line item, it wasn't sufficient enough for what they needed back there. This basically gives, Miss Susan, this is gonna be the paper and the Post-its and all that. Is that correct?
Yeah, but
Okay.
just the paper goods, your administrative, but it's also the toner, it's.
Right.
And cartridges, all that, yeah.
Paper.
So, with that being said, when there's 39, 40 employees back there and they're with 150, anywhere from 150 to 200 inmates, supplies go up, obviously, and we run out pretty quickly. Repairs, it was budgeted at $100,000 last year. We're asking it to go to 110. Now this looks inflated because of the influx of money that we got for insurance payoffs. And this was not out of the initial budgeting. So considering the age and fleet of the vehicles, we are asking for that 10% increase on the original allocation, which would take us to 110,000. Utilities, it was set at, and this is 4101, 3201. It was set at 125,000 last year. We are requesting to go to 165. We're currently on track to spend about $151,700 as of the date of this proposal. Considering the cost of influx of the inmates, increasing cost of energy, the water, which I'm told is increasing on us from the city. We'd also like to see at least, would like to see this budgeted for at least the end of year cost, roughly with the 10% buffer. If we only had 125 and we're projected to go at 150, 700, I think somewhere in the middle of that, we thought 165 would be a fair number for next year. Fuel in the jail, we did decrease that from 25,000 to 20,000. It has been a busy 25, but our fuel usage has been managed and remained lower. We don't believe the funds will be needed this next fiscal year. So the $5,000 would decrease on that. Your inmate food. So we looked at two proposals. I'm not even going to present them to the court because they are, in my opinion, drastically over what we pay now and drastically over what we are requesting. They would provide a service, kitchen detail and things like that. Why it looks good on paper, when you really get down to it and you start looking at the services provided, we're basically doing the same thing we're doing now and paying a company to be there. So We will continue doing it with our staff. As much as I don't like to do that, I don't feel like they are dietitians and should be having to manage a kitchen, but unfortunately that right now, that is where we're gonna have to stay if we're gonna save money in that area.
What was one of the contracts? One of the proposals.
394,000, I think.
They
was
were
one of
roughly
them.
400,000.
You still do all the legwork and they do.
Yeah. You still have to provide the inmates and a jailer in the kitchen.
Yeah,
They provided small, and still had to order. And so,
It wasn't, from what I saw, it was advertised as one thing, but contractual was a very.
absolutely. Yes,
And I'm sure that it's on accident.
I'm sure it was, right?
So at 330,000, that's $1.72 a plate if you're running an average of 175 inmates.
Yes, sir. Right now, we're projected to hit 304, and we currently have a budget of 275 from the previous budget that I had no control over.
That is hard work. So your staff is doing good.
They're working very hard, so. I had another company tell me it would average around $2.25 a tray, so you can add that up times 3 meals a day times 175 or 203, and it's going to be well over what we're even asking for here.
close to $500,000.
Yeah, so we're asking to go from 275 to 330, and with the amount of activity and the rest that have been made under my administration, I feel like our numbers are going to continue to climb. The courts are doing great. I really appreciate everybody's hard work there. We're getting them in and out pretty quick now, and so that number gets to stay about the same and not fluctuate by 30 to 40 inmates. So at a time. So pretty happy with that. Jail uniforms, we ask it to be decreased from 16,000 to 10,000. We have some uniforms that are remaining in storage, I guess you would say. So a lot of folks that we hire, we can reuse uniforms. And right now we're sitting okay and don't need that funding. So capital lease, we decreased it from 18,541 to 0. Both of those have been paid off, so there's some extra money there. You have any questions there on this jail budget? Yes, ma'am.
I know you said you're in jail for, was there any separation needed between your rank at the top, or do we adequately space for this to, okay.
This sheet will break down everything for you. We did the 26, and then we also provided the 25 of what they were currently paid, so you can see the difference per employee at their prospective rank or prospective pay scale 1 through 4. Also, I wanted to go back. This is what I said I thought may make you smile. As you know, I'm a longtime resident here, but I did work 13 years in Ellis County, and I did talk to the current sheriff there. And on the contract services area, we may be able to cut that drastically. I will know more later this week. The current sheriff has offered to give us 60 tasers and taser equipment, charging stations, and everything, because they are getting new ones. So I'm able to possibly save a lot right here. And they may only last a couple of years, but it's a couple of years where we can save some money somewhere. So, and if you can save 70 grand over 2 years, then I think that's a pretty good savings. So I will let the court know, and if they are able to do that, we will get a donation agreement written up and presented to the court for approval. So it's where networking and having good relationships with other law enforcement agencies come in handy, especially for a small rural county like us, because we get it, made of money. So if that no questions on the jail, I'm going to turn over the LE side to the Chief Deputy, Tim Westmoreland. If y'all are okay with that, he's worked pretty hard on this, and he'll be able to answer those questions for you. Thank you for your time.
Afternoon. This one took some work. Every,
What is this?
this is your,
Gonna be law enforcement, 3102.
Oh, this is late.
it's some of my previous complaining earlier this will probably help make sense of some of that. The sheriff's office budget, again, set in place previously prior to Barnes taking office. We had identified a number of shortfalls, probably the first 2 or 3 weeks that we were in office, whether it was the jail side or the sworn side. We knew that there was a lot of work that was going to have to be done. We knew we were going to have to pinch pennies in a lot of areas in the middle of trying to staff the place, get the overtime under control, and trying to do all this at one time has been difficult. Having said that, going back through the first line there, the salary line item of the sheriff calls for an increase there. So when we looked at the salary study that the county paid for this year, looking at those numbers, that number right there is either at or slightly below what the salary study recommended the salary of the sheriff actually be here in Hill County. Having said that, so the staff wages that kind of fell along in line with that. The staff wages, obviously, we talked about a cost of living adjustment for all the employees across the sheriff's office, as well as fixing the gaps in pay in the rank and file of the command staff at the sheriff's office, which I don't know if you guys remember or not. We discussed that probably several months ago, maybe in February in a commissioner's court meeting when we amended the cap policy. This is basically the same thing that I'm talking about here today. We just finally get a chance to talk about it. So basically the new pay scale, which has been submitted to you already, that encompass the sheriff's side, the jail side, the dispatch side on the salary grades of 1 through 4, as well as the rank and file. It's all laid out in there for you to show you what the salary numbers actually equate to. We accounted for 10% gaps between ranks. That way, starting with the sergeants, going to lieutenant, the lieutenants were fairly compensated for taking on 4 times the amount of subordinates versus a 2% pay increase for 4 times the work, as well as increasing the gap 10% from rank to rank going through there. We gauged a number of other law enforcement agencies, especially those in the area that were reputable and actually had pay scales that they abided by. And every one of them operated off a 10% gap between ranks because of the amount of work that each additional rank encompasses and the additional responsibility that goes along with it. So the staff wages as well, it shows an increase on here, and this is staffing every position at a deputy or its topped out rate with the 3% cost of living adjustment, as well as funding them at 83 hours instead of 86. It's an increase of 2.2 and some change to 2.85 overall.
Are y'all adding any additional deputies? I know from what I understand, y'all are short, and I didn't know if this includes any additional deputies or not.
Yes, sir, it does. I'm glad you brought that up. So the sheriff wanted to submit a proposal here to request 4 additional positions at the sheriff's office, which are all basically investigative positions. And I'm glad you brought that up. I was getting to that. I'll go ahead and talk about it now.
I was gonna say, Chief, I need to clarify any of those positions and why it need to have those, I don't mind doing that.
Sure. I'll do the first half. So the 4 investigator positions since you brought that up, the 4 investigator positions that we're requesting, 2 of those positions are primarily to add 2 investigators to the criminal investigations division of the sheriff's office. That division is currently allocated 3 investigators plus 1 lieutenant to oversee them. The issue that we run into is that Hill County Sheriff's Office has been running with the same number of investigators for about 25 years now, all the way back through long before Brent Button even left office. I know that because I was here back then. I remember working in those circumstances. The difference is now, and any prosecutor in this office or in this courthouse would probably back me on this, the work of a criminal investigator has increased tenfold over the last 10 to 20 years. The amount of electronics that are involved with criminal investigations these days, the number of subpoenas, the number of search warrants that are written, sex crimes, all those things, the work of I say investigator, it's basically a detective, same thing. The work of a criminal investigator is so much more than it used to be. How we've managed to run with 3 investigators all this time is crazy to me. But now that we've been there for 6 months and actually seen how they're working now, they're constantly drowning in the number of criminal cases that get filed in our investigations division every week that goes by. So as time goes by, you can suppress crime all you want. The point is that crime still happens, and it's always going to happen. I don't care if we had 100 deputies on each shift out on the street, there's still going to be crime that happens that has to be investigated. The nature of the investigations and the time that an investigation takes is the issue. So with the number of cases that we take in on a daily or a weekly basis here, our investigators are drowning every single day that they come to work. And it's a struggle and it's a bind. And this is something that I can remember pushing 3 sheriffs ago to have done that either no one would ever ask for or no one cared enough about in the past. We got here, we saw it, and it's even worse now than it was a decade ago. That's the reason for the 2 additional investigators that we're requesting here today. But that does include the salaries of 4 total. The other 2 investigative positions.
I can speak on that, real quick, thank you. I have been, probably for the better part of a couple decades, we have been constantly fielding calls from people, especially now that I've taken office. When are you gonna do something about the narcotics? When are you gonna do something about this? Everybody's doing it. Yesterday alone, I had 3 calls on nothing about narcotics. Why can't you do this? I'm tired of living across the street from this. And every time we send the one person that is qualified to do some investigation on narcotics, he then gets pulled away from to go handle patrol stuff because he runs that division. So my thought here is you add the 2 for investigations and one becomes a crimes against children investigator, which those take forever to do. Anybody in this room, ask Katie, she'll tell you. She does an amazing job too, by the way. I want to develop a crime reduction unit is what we're going to call it. And it is 2 investigators who not only can investigate, but they can also work narcotics in high crime areas. You won't know they're cops. So unless you have to deal with them, I think it gives us the extra eyes out there and the extra means to be able to really hit these areas hard, and show the folks here that we don't want your drug activity here. We don't want your crime here. You can move out of the county or you can stop. And in order to do that, we do have to have those personnel to do that. I have somebody very qualified to run that unit that already works here. So, that is a dream of mine, and if we can make that happen, you're going to start seeing some results, and you're going to start seeing your property values go up because we're not scared to seize your home and tear it down if it's a drug house, and we'll own a lot for all I care. As long as there's no drugs in this county, or at least we can make a damper on it, that is my goal.
Would this be similar to Clinton County's?
Yes, sir.
Basically, they have an issue in the county, they've got a group that they throw at it to make it.
They do.
Stop.
And we can do MOUs with other counties to help us as well. I know it's only 2 people, but 2 people, you don't understand.
Yes.
I would be very grateful to have 2 people in that unit. It would be amazing. We could get a lot done. So, and I know on the other end, on the other 2 for the investigative side, the chief may or may not have mentioned those 2 investigators will be stationed at the Huron building full time in that office. So they have some added security there in that building, and I know the judge and his clerks will be much appreciative, as well as being able to respond for assistance quickly on the website. We're just out of office room, and I think it makes sense to have 2 investigators over there that can quickly respond and investigate cases. Hillsborough is not the only thing that matters. It's every community in this county. So thank you. I appreciate it.
So yes, sir. The total number did encompass those 4 additionally requested positions. Obviously you guys are going to do what you will with it in the end, but that's the whole thing.
Are there more just actual deputies out in the cars?
No, sir, they're not going to be for the patrol division at all. These are specifically for investigating criminal incidents. Now, the two-man unit that he's talking about, yes, but probably in a bit of a more covert manner. These are going to be specialized investigators that will work in narcotics, organized crime, things of that nature that go on here. Human trafficking, the whole thing.
But will it free up other deputies to do other things?
Absolutely. It could free them up from having to do extra patrols in area that are high crime rates or whatever the case may be, whether you're getting hit with burglaries real hard or thefts real hard. You could have something going on with the precinct barn periodically. I can allocate 1 or 2 men just specifically right there to do nothing but sit on that place for a little bit until we catch whoever's messing with your stuff. I mean,
I'll send you a map.
yeah, it's the beauty of it is it's basically a plug and play unit and you can use it however you need it. And you can too, will tell you that there is always something to look at here in the county from a criminal standpoint, from Chisholm Trail to Mount Calm and everywhere in between. There's constantly something going on. And it does give you an additional presence, and it also gives you an additional level of understanding from the criminal element of this county that there's probably somebody out there now. And I don't think that this county has ever had that in the past. I know decades ago, they were part of the Agriplex task force out of McLean County before it disbanded, but that would have been in the late 90s into the early 2000s. This county has never seen anything like that since. So in my mind, and this is just my opinion, with the sheriff winning office and all the complaints that I think that we've heard for the last 6 or 7 months, everything through the sheriff's campaign through this past year and earlier, or through the past year and the year before, everyone had the same complaint that they've had for decades here. Property crime, thefts and burglaries, and dope everywhere. He's selling dope, she's selling dope, they're using dope, whatever. The problem is that I don't think that the sheriff's office has ever had the resources to really combat that. Could be. It absolutely could be. I mean, obviously I agree with the sheriff either way it goes. And the fact if we had the 2 additional investigators to combat that specifically, I could send them anywhere in this county. If the investigation takes them out of county, and tracks them back to the Metroplex, we get involved with the feds at that point. There's a million different ways that these could go. But to me, with the sheriff being elected and put into office in January, with all the complaints that we heard that we've been hearing all this time, I kind of looked at it as a mandate from the people here is that they were tired of the lack of service they were getting from the previous administration. So in order to combat this and actually do something about it, I think collectively we have to do something about it and take some kind of action.
Yeah, you've got 2nd and 3rd generation.
Absolutely.
You think they hadn't got dug in down here because there hasn't been a presence? You're wrong.
We agree.
Chief, I just said, I'll thank you that.
Yes, sir.
And I know everybody looks at numbers. That unit, I would not be requesting any purchase of any vehicles. We would rent them. And then turn them back in every so many miles. It's way cheaper, it's more efficient, and then the dope dealers don't know what car you're driving. So. It's a little bit more efficient on that.
I think most of us are aware that there is, granted, not an actual standing network of crime where they're, they've got their own network, maybe, although there probably is some, but there is an unofficial network where they know what law enforcement is and is not doing. Are not doing in the county. And we've seen it when a particular investigator or a particular deputy leaves the area. It goes through the culture like a wave, and it's either yay, he's gone, or if somebody comes back, oh no, that person's back. And we've seen that go through, like I said, it may not be an actual network, but it does travel through that segment of society within our community. And I think if this unit like that got stood up, I feel like that would go through very quickly and start maybe some deterrence just in its existence.
Right. And Judge, I feel like, especially the phone call I got yesterday, they were almost in tears. Like They're tired of living across the street and them paying their taxes and them taking care of their property. And the people across the street don't, and all I can tell them is, we're trying. Because I don't have the people to send over there to do it all the time. So, and that's just one place, that's just one place.
Probably the phone call I got.
Probably, there's numerous, yes, there's numerous, and it's a big issue, and I know it's an issue everywhere, but and I know two is not a lot, but I think it would go. So, that's it.
You know, I've been impressed before y'all took office or whatever you're gonna call it. You never heard anything on the radio. When I'm going to work at 7 a.m, I hear people
Oh,
on
they're
the
already,
radio. Yes.
we
Oh,
put that,
on
Yeah.
on the law enforcement. radio.
On the law
Yeah,
enforcement,
I see.
yeah, I'm always on the.
Yeah, and I was like,
I do the good time radio too.
yeah, I was thinking you were
Yeah.
talking sheriff's show.
No, I'm not about that, but I'm impressed because there are actually people out there doing something.
all it comes down to is effective management. And actually making people go, that's all it is.
Now, y'all saving the 3 hours per person, is that going to pay for some of these?
It would enable, there would be a buffer for us to enable some of these changes the sheriff is proposing. There's going to be, obviously, you're looking at the numbers same as I am. There's a jump in the salaries. Which obviously includes these 4 people, but to implement the step program that they're proposing, which is in the back here. To implement that step program, those 3 hours would go towards that, right? Those 3 hours are gonna go towards these investigators. Obviously, I don't think those 3 hours savings is gonna come out even. I don't think it's gonna be a net zero. But I think it will be, it will offset it quite a lot, I do. So.
This 3 hours you look over the play. They're going to,
We're gonna shift, basically you're shifting those.
they're proposing that they go to fund the step.
Correct.
Or a portion.
Or a portion.
Well, to get a lot better sheriff department than we had, it's gonna cost us some more money.
Yes.
There's no question.
Well, as we discussed before, the majority of our budget goes to justice. Whether it be the sheriff's office, the jail, the courts, the attorneys, APO, we already had that discussion.
Well,
That's the way it is.
think of where you would be if the overtime issue had been managed properly by the previous administration.
Would it say 500 to 900,000 a year? That's not.
Which, I mean, I guess that's a great point looking forward is you are saving that per year to put where you want it instead of at overtime.
I'd be willing to guarantee you're gonna get a lot better return on your investment with us.
I've seen more patrol cars between Aquila and Whitney than I've ever seen.
They're trying to catch you, Steve.
And we're sending people to training left and right. So we haven't even been fully shifted every shift because they're in training, because they haven't been able to do that.
Yeah.
And that's huge. Y'all do that. I talked about that. Our training was important to me and our administration, it still is. And they want to go to a training, if we can afford it, we're gonna send them. And just the way that we go.
Also, does that salary number include Sergeant Jackson and Lieutenant Jackson?
Does not. That
Sorry.
does include the administrative sergeant position though.
Okay,
The one that he currently occupies, that is included in that number. Of course, I've always asked somebody to go back and double check my work, but it is included in that though. That's everything.
okay.
So. Any other questions? Okay. Step wages. See.
I'm gonna add something to your next 2 items as you discussed. Maybe I could, the SB 22 funds, what we've done for the DA and the county attorney, we've done those into separate funds. And maybe for the next year, that's what we need to do for the SB 22. These numbers, 1116 and 1119, those are reserved for wages only. In our numbering scheme, that's compensation only, so I might want to get with you to revise that slightly.
Okay.
So you're proposing like the county attorney have another entire fund.
Yes, you know,
I think that would be
initially,
the proper way to do it, because now, and
Look,
this was passed in an odd way, at mid-year, the 350,000. It was not well rolled out, just about like everything the state does when they do it in a hurry. And so the 350,000 just got thrown in to a category. Susan and I and Miss Daisy, I believe, tried to allocate those funds properly. We had zero help from the existing sheriff at the time as to what we were supposed to do with those. It was a mess. But I do think the proper way would to put it in a separate fund, just like the prosecutors have done. And that way we can properly track those numbers, and not have any mix up like previous.
Well, I'm glad y'all brought that up, because I noticed that we were the only ones that did not have its own budget allocated for that money specifically. But you've already handled it.
and that was because initially when the county got the increases in October of 23. You had to raise the sheriff up to a certain amount to be eligible before you could even start using those SB 22 funds if you used it for wages. And I didn't do that budget, but that's what, you know, it was all based on salary, so they did the whole thing in the general fund. And which it was done again for this year, I don't even know, I need to get with the county judge, I don't know what it was budgeted for this year. But for the next year, let's get it right.
Absolutely.
And then on the lake patrol, that contract, it's partly salary and partly fuel, maintenance and equipment. So we only budget the salary portion because again, this 1119 is compensation only. And your other expenses related to that are just down in your other expenses.
Good. I learned something today. Yeah, the Lake Patrol contract, the previous sheriff was basically running it where they were running it 2 years at a time. And we didn't think that was a good business move because the cost of fuel, if it fluctuates from year to year, if we go to war in the Middle East, whatever, and we budgeted $20,000 less than what we actually needed to perform Lake Patrol for the Corps over the summer, we lose 20 grand because we weren't smart enough to do it year by year. So we've moved that back where we're only doing that contract year by year now. You have to submit an optional year contract to submit the original, but it's not, we're not obligated to stand by the optional year. So I'm gonna do that little contract and submit it to you guys every single year going forward to make sure that the county is not getting burned by the Corps for any funds for fuel or maintenance or salary, whatever. But yes, that's the gist of that one. Now that you've explained it, I have a way better understanding of that, so thank you. Longevity, same thing, requested an increase there. Obviously, we've got some employees there that have been here a little bit longer by county policy in itself. They're due the longevity pay. 2302 training and mileage reimbursement. This one was kind of a hot button issue for us. We looked and found that $10,000 was allocated to this line item for the entire fiscal year. As time went on and the sheriff and I worked here longer, we found out that $10,000 for 37 people is not a lot of money when it comes to training, especially every one of them requiring continuing education each 2 years by TCOL or whoever. Initially, there was $10,000 funded to that line item. I did a little research and found out there were some other county entities that are only 1 and 3 and 5 man entities that were getting allocated as much as $5,000 or $6,000 for training for just a handful of people. Yet we have 37 that got $10,000.
Not our fault.
I get that. I'm not laying blame. I'm not laying blame. I'm just trying to lay the premise for the. So we can go by law of averages or however we want to do it, but by some of the math that I looked at in some of the other budgets, it would basically mean that budget might need to go to anywhere from $150,000 to $170,000. Obviously, we're not asking for that. However, we are requesting that it literally go from 10 to 40,000. We do get LEOSA funds from the state, but they are not. I don't think they're exactly the same amount each year. We get a certain percentage of money that is divvied up by the comptroller's office. So yeah, that number is never constant. I might get $5,000 this year. I might get 10 next year. And then the following year I get 2. There's never any way of knowing how much training money you're going to get from the state for LEOSA funds until you get it. As evidenced by this year, we were fortunate enough to get a few $1,000s from them. But again, This one isn't as simple because we've got 31 people total employed through this budget alone between sworn and non-sworn employees. But if you look back into the courthouse bailiff security budget, there is no training line item in that budget. So those 6 additional deputies that are employed through courthouse security have to be funded also through that. So what looks like 31 people is actually 37 people that we're having to fund training for. So that funds that probably at about $1,000 per person for the year for training, depending on the need, types of training, or whatever goes on through the year. We can never tell what may come up. Someone may get a promotion or a transfer, or go to a specialized unit that requires some type of specialized training. Those are the unknowns through each year that you have. But I think I didn't think that increasing that from 10 to 40 was super unreasonable considering the number of personnel that we have to fund from that line item.
40 or 30?
I'm sorry,
40 or 30?
40 is the request. Did it say 30?
Since 30 books.
Okay, sorry, maybe I,
Typo?
it is 30. I'm sorry, I apologize. 30,000, not 40,000.
Like when they go to training, how many go to training at one time?
Depends on the need. Like right now,
Like you send 15 or 20 to training at one time, that's really gonna cut you short in the county.
we don't do that. That would kill us on manpower. Trust me, we're very
4 or
cognizant
5
of
at a
that.
time, maybe.
Not even that. We're talking maybe 1, 2, 3 tops. And even then, if you start losing 2 or 3 people, it's burdensome. I'm dealing with that today. As a matter of fact, I've got 2 members of my command staff out answering calls for service right now. So because I got people in training and I got another one on vacation, it's just the way the schedules fell and it's the unknown.
Will the sheriff, when he gets to where he can train again, will that take up some of that slack?
It very well could, absolutely. And that's something that we're going to explore when the time comes. I think it will, especially in the coming budget year, absolutely. As long as TCOL will give us the provider's license back. Of course, that's up to them. If they deny it for whatever reason, which I don't think that they will, but if they did deny it, then obviously the money's going to have to continue, one way or the other, just to get the training. We encourage online training like Judge Jatan spoke about earlier. We absolutely encourage online training where we can. It's just not always feasible. You've got different levels of licensure with TCOL, your basic, your intermediate, your advanced, and your master peace officer. If you're still a basic peace officer, you have to take specific courses every 2 years to keep your continuing education hours up so you can keep your license active so you can still work as a police officer. Once you hit intermediate, it's not so stringent. You can take kind of 40 hours of just about whatever you want other than the couple of mandates. But we have a lot of basic peace officers here because training wasn't exactly emphasized in previous years. So we're trying to build those basic peace officers up to intermediate level peace officers so they can pick and choose the training that they want and probably be able to do more online too and not have to travel out of town for 5 days at a time and 5 days of per diem and 5 nights of hotel stay and all these other things. We're working to get to that point, and I'm curious where we're going to be by fiscal year 2027 to actually look at that the next time we're all meeting and talking about this to see exactly where we're going to go. But for this year, until we get the training provider license, we're stuck. We kind of just have to continue doing business the way we've been doing it. So, but that's the reason for the drastic increase. I'm sorry about the miscommunication. It was 30,000. I'm looking at a different number on here. It's 10 to 30. We thought that was very fair on some of the percentages that we'd seen elsewhere. Let's see, bonds and insurance, again, recommended 10% increase to cover new costs. Contract services. The money allocated to that line item in the fiscal year 25 budget wasn't even enough to cover the bills that the previous sheriff knew that he had. There wasn't enough money there. We found that out as the periodic bills kept coming in through the year. And now we're here. So the contract services in there includes a number of things. We requested an increase from $12,400 to $15,000. We believe that should cover those bills that typically come out of that line item. The contract services for draw a blank here. Contract services for the sheriff's office. Do you remember?
Someone does psychologicals, it's their.
Yes.
So do those overlap with the jail? No.
No, it's 2 separate things. We keep it all separate. That way it's accounted for on each side appropriately. But it encompasses multiple things. The drug screening for new hires, the psychological examinations, none of that stuff is cheap, but we're required to do it by TCOL. We can't get around it. If we get a new hire that comes in that needs a psychological, drug screen, medical, physical, you know, you're talking upwards of anywhere from $600 to $1,000 per person just to put them through that process. So considering the number of vacancies that we have now, the ones that we're looking to fill going forward, and if that the additional positions requested are granted, all that money is going to be needed to fund all that to get it all where it needs to be, as well as the other small bills that come out of the contract services line item as well. Supplies, there was originally $5,000 granted for supplies to the sheriff's office. We use a lot of ink, a lot of paper, and as much as we don't want to, we try to electronically do as much as we can, but we cannot always get around it. That $5,000 went pretty quick, and I know that it currently shows to be over, but we did that for a reason, to show, to give a better idea of how much money was actually needed to fund that place for supplies. And trust me, everybody down there at the office is extremely mad at me because I won't even let them buy paper clips at this point. We can't buy anything because we're literally out of money. So we know that the amount of money that was there, and even purchasing the bare minimum things needed to go forward, the money wasn't there. We can try to operate within budget of this one all day long, and that's fine, but it'll eventually get to the point where the service you're going to get out of that is so substandard, everybody's going to be embarrassed. So that was the reason for that that increase request as well. Postage, same thing. When I projected to be on budget with the line item, there are several things discovered from the previous administration was not handling properly. One of which was notification of schools when it comes to sex offender registration. Per Article 62 of the Code of Criminal Procedure, the law enforcement agency that registers a sex offender is required to notify each school district anytime a sex offender moves into a school district. To my knowledge, the sheriff's office had not been engaging in that practice regularly, so I had the current sex offender registration officer for the sheriff's office send all those letters out this year. But each time one moves in or one moves to a different school district within the county, we have to notify those schools in writing per the law. We can't get around it. So I don't think that that was necessarily being funded last year. So that was why we had requested that increase, mainly because of the amount of mail that's going to go out, some of which is certified, which costs more than your standard stamp anyway. So that was one of the bigger reasons for requesting that increase. Well, man, I'm sorry to just keep beating y'all down here, but sadly it doesn't get any better.
I'll just keep going.
Yeah. Software maintenance. This is one of the most interesting ones we'd had. The day that Sheriff Barnes took office, we walked in and we were about 370% over budget the day that the sheriff took office, before the sheriff even spent a penny on anything. So that told me that either the previous administration did not request or budget properly for what they knew that they were going to be billed for, or there was some miscommunication somewhere last year when it came to allocating this line item specifically from the courthouse. So the software and maintenance encompasses a bunch of things. It includes the Axon contract, which is the body cameras and the dash cameras for the law enforcement side. Reworking a contract with Axon to supply us with all new equipment that they had not been supplying with the sheriff's office, even though they were contractually obligated to do so. We finally called them on it. But we're trying to rework the whole thing and again, make that one total bill. So the increase looks huge, and it is. It's a request to increase it from $8,000 to $120,000. The problem is that we had to come to you guys earlier on in sheriff's term here several months back and request money from contingency to pay for software like Leads Online, some Axon purchases that were not accounted for, that just came up sporadically as we get blindly hit with bills. Our TLO comes out of there, which is our information software that we use. There's badge printing software we have for the printing of badges and identification cards for access and police identification for the sheriff's office. Active Alert, which I think some of you may be on Active Alert. I know Judd is.
We are exploring the option of maybe some other electeds being added to that as well.
Sure.
Apparently this building.
Yeah, apparently the county's been using it for quite a while, and it was a service that we thought was great for local law enforcement, medical, fire departments, elected officials, everybody. We thought that the service was great, chose to continue using it. So it was something that was actually being utilized. But there's a million features to it. I'm sure somebody at some point, if you're not familiar with it, can walk you through it. Let's see. Phone lines. So the sheriff's office is still operating on the old school analog phone lines that have the wire out of the wall. And that's great, and they work, and I know that they typically work all the time. The problem is that half the wires in those walls are just about eat up completely and are in need of repairs, something fierce. I found out that the sheriff's office is currently allocated 19 total phone lines for the facility, and I think we're using about 7 or 8 of them, and we've been paying for 10 or 12 phone lines that have not been in use probably for decades. The good thing about that is that those unpaid phone lines, they're only about $8 a month, so it's not exactly a dramatic cost, but it is still money that could probably be used elsewhere for better means. The issue with the phone lines is, and if any one of you ever want to come by my office and sit in my office and be really quiet, I'll show you what I'm talking about. Every one of our phones sounds like open air lines sitting on our desks. There's problems with the phone lines, probably with the connection ports that are up in the attic of the sheriff's office, everything else. They've been in need of repair since Sheriff Button probably moved into that building 23 years ago. So there was an option to go to VoIP phones. It's voice over internet protocol phones that we had discussed previously. The problem is it costs about 3 times the amount of what we're paying in a monthly bill right now. We're currently paying about $200 a month for the phone lines between the bailiff's phone as well as the multiple phone lines that I just mentioned at the sheriff's office. The VoIP phones run off of internet specifically. They do not have to be plugged into the phone port on the wall. The LAN port, the blue cord, I'm sure you guys have blue cords. The blue cord is what is used, I believe, to run those phones. They work in any emergency situation. They work in any weather. If your primary internet source goes out, turns those phones off, you have a backup internet source that will continually run those phones. Is that correct, Philip? So the only issue is the change in cost. So you're paying $200 and something a month now for 19 phone lines, and we only use less than half of them. And our phone lines need dramatic repair, or we can spend the money and do the VoIP phones, which encompasses all the equipment and everything that comes along with it. I weighed the pros and cons of this and ended up going ahead and requesting the VoIP phones because the amount of repairs that are needed to that old building down there with the phone lines and the phone jacks that are all over the place, all scattered through that building, would probably cost a lot more long-term than just going ahead and going with the VoIP phones. So it's $600+ per month for the entire jail. That includes the jail, the sheriff's office, dispatch, everything. And it's equipment and all of it. It's all warranted, the whole thing. So while it does cost more, we collectively believe that it would be much better for everybody down there because the phones that are down there now are extremely antiquated and the phone lines are even worse. So
Have we seen the contract yet?
we have not gotten a contract yet.
Proposal? Okay.
There should be one in that folder right there. I believe I put that information in there. If not, I can get it to y'all, but it lays out the entire thing. It might be up front through those first few pages, Judge. Sorry, missed
This
it.
looks like the sheriff's center.
Yeah.
Oh, there it's less than 20.
Yes, Vested Networks is the name of the company. It's $600 per month for all the equipment and for the service. There's an additional fee on there, obviously, for your taxes, and they have a cloud-based user service. You know, your $15 a month fee that they hit you with, and
Chief, was that for a 3-year or was that a 5-year proposal? It's the same.
great question. Well, the offer was good for 30 days, but this one didn't say or a 3 or a 5-year proposal on it. It just said the proposal was good for 30 days.
Nice.
It's either 3 or 5. I'm sorry, it says it right there in front of me, 60 months. It's a 5-year plan. I'm sorry. They got me on that one. But anyway, that was part of the request for additional money on that one as well.
is that kind of like, off a satellite or how does that operate?
Hardwired internet. So your internet ports that you have in your building with the big blue thick looking
Yeah.
phone lines, same thing. You just plug into the LAN port and it plugs straight into the phone. The old school original phone cords that you see, they basically just go away. So
A
it's
storm or anything that would blow up, it would knock that out.
no, and we had discussed that as well about keeping one analog line for dispatch, you know, in the event of world catastrophe and internet
Mhm.
going down all over the planet. But again, this system does come with a backup as well. So if your primary internet goes down, the backup will catch it as a safety net, but also keeping at least one analog phone line in that building should there be some type of catastrophe from an emergency standpoint, and we needed to either make contact with the outside world or vice versa. I think it would be a good idea to keep at least one of them around just for the sake of.
If I can just speak real quick.
Sure, absolutely.
So I was recommending keeping two of the analog fax lines or analog lines for fax purposes, one back in the jail and one out front. Reason being is CGIS compliance. So analog phone lines are CGIS compliant. If you move to a voice over IP type of a fax solution, then you have to have additional encryption, you have to use specialized hardware. There's more hoops to jump through. Can you make it CGIS compliant? Yes, you can. But we're already CGIS compliant today. It's costing us $8 a month.
$8-10 a month for the fax lines. It's not a big deal in the grand scheme of things, but a lot less equipment has to be purchased in the process too, for the sake of the fax lines. We can just focus on the desktop phones and that's it. Thank you for bringing that up. But yes, sorry, where were we here? Software and maintenance, yes. So there's a number of reasons in there for the drastic increase. Primarily the one on that one is for Axon. So the new Axon contract that was brokered, instead of then nickel and diming us all the way through the year, month to month, sending us sporadic bills for $4,000 to $8,000 or $9,000, it's $79,000 per year for 5 years on the contract is what it is total. That encompasses licensing, equipment, the latest and greatest equipment of whatever they've got, then providing whatever training is required to use whatever equipment comes along with it, the whole thing. So I know it's costly, but the thing is that the county's been paying just about all that money all this time. You just don't see it in one blanket bill. They've been hitting you probably every month or two with these several bills for thousands of dollars at a time. But that's how much you're going to end up paying at the end of the year anyway. We wanted to simplify it, pay it all up front for the whole year, and Susan not get a million emails and invoices, and Rachel too, for that matter, to simplify it. So that's the biggest chunk of that request. Repairs, we did request an increase of 10% in the repair line item.
What's that total number? I've got it. It's kind of messy on my sheet.
Yeah, I'm sorry about that. My chicken scratch there. Originally, $100,000 was allocated to that fund. Currently, it's allocated at $181,960. But the only reason that number was inflated was because of repair money that was given from the hailstorms. So all that was insurance money that we got back to start making repairs on squad cars, which is ongoing.
So what's the
It's
total?
110.
I'm sorry.
Is that 110?
Yes, sir. Yeah, is what I'm requesting to go to is a 10% increase for repairs. We have an aging fleet of squad cars, and with an aging fleet of squad cars, all that means is that more stuff's gonna break.
Oh, yeah.
It's just part of doing business, I guess. Let's see. Good there. Radio, we requested to go from $9,500 to $10,000 for estimated repairs for this year, and that is to plan and prep for the potential addition of newer radios for squad cars where needed. Working with Chris Jackson, we're looking at used or refurbished radio units that are substantially cheaper than brand new head units. We're kind of weighing the cost of both. If we had to buy some, or if something went down in that area now, we would probably go ahead and just go with the refurbished ones, just to make sure that we're covered in some way. But that was the reason for the $500 increase, because of how much those cost. I think that would allot us 4 or 5 total head units for squad cars. Security equipment, we had requested a decrease of, sorry, 32,561. We had requested to go ahead and decrease that down to $30,000 evenly. We have gotten to the point where we've purchased just about all the vests that we need. for the sheriff's office. We're waiting on some of them to be shipped here. However, there are some other equipment needs that are going to be needed going forward. New bulletproof vests get purchased out of that line item. Those things run about $2,600 a kit for one person, and they're custom fitted and cannot be reused or issued unless you just magically find a new hire that is the exact same size and girth and everything else of the person that vacated the position. So it's expensive. We wanted to make sure that with the number of vacancies we have, that we look to fill this coming year, that we had enough money in there to outfit new hires with new vests as they come in the door and not run into the situation that we just ran into over this past year ever again. If we can keep it going on a rolling basis from year to year, we don't have to come to you guys and just mysteriously say, I need $100,000 for vests. We can just basically keep chopping at it as we go along and probably spend it a lot more responsibly in the process. Other supplies, we requested a decrease on this from $35,000 to $25,000. With what few plans that we have and what we know we're going to need there, we don't think there's a need to fund it the full 35. So we requested the $10,000 decrease on that one. Capital lease payment, from what I understand, we're looking to decrease that from the allocated $301,000 plus down to $215,000. The sheriff's office in the county did pay off, I think, a handful of vehicles this year through capital lease. But we still have several that are still on there for one more payment. I think one more payment through this year. There's several of them on there, but after that, we believe from what we've seen after this year, all of the leased vehicles for the sheriff's office should be paid off. So we requested that line item be decreased down to $215,000, difference of about $86,000 to make the payments that are going to be due through capital lease this year. Speaking of vehicles, we had talked about this earlier, the sheriff and I did. We are projected to be vastly under budget in a big way. I think on the sheriff's office side, a lot of that had to do with being short-staffed because their salary money that's actually still going to be there, as well as some other things. The sheriff and I talked about this collectively with the need for some squad cars down there because our fleet is getting old with the hailstorm and everything else. It's not only is it old and now it's really ugly and beat down. We're going to need some cars going forward, especially with this one, considering the amount of money that we're projected to have left over. I think it's not out of the question to think that there may not be enough money left over to fully purchase outright 4 to 6 squad cars for the sheriff's office, not financing them anything. I think the money may end up being there to just pay for them outright if the court is willing to consider that later on. And it would be less that I got a request from you going forward too, is to use the money that's already allocated and already there for cars. So I just wanted to plant that bug. And
So let me put it in chain terms, because so we're talking about money that you're going to have left over in this year's budget, left over from unpaid salaries, utilizing those funds to buy cars this fiscal year and not have to buy those cars next fiscal year.
correct. Okay. Yes. And again, that's up to you guys, obviously. I just kind of wanted to throw that out there to see if you would even consider the idea for it. Let me see here. On the sheriff's office side right now, and I know that these aren't real numbers, don't get me wrong, but we're projected to be about $500,000 under budget on the sheriff's office side this year. That's the projection. I don't know if that's going to be the exact, but that's just for the sheriff's office budget in itself. The jail, there's more there too. So there's money there rather than maybe having to allocate even more money from next fiscal year's budget. I thought maybe it was a good idea that we use the money that was already submitted to the sheriff's office to make those purchases and actually get something out of it, not financing them, not paying the interest on them through capital lease, and just paying for them outright. The sheriff and I discussed vehicles a number of times and getting away from the Chevrolet Tahoes because they have been a nightmare. Chevrolet has really fallen off on the law enforcement vehicle realm. We're looking to go back to 4-wheel drive pickups that we can get for about $10,000 or $15,000 cheaper than an outfitted Tahoe. So for every several Tahoes you buy, you could have gotten an additional pickup out of it, is what the way we look at it. So we're trying to get more with less, and I think that's probably financially the best way to do it and not paying interest at the same time. So I just wanted to throw that out there as an idea. If you guys would consider it, we would greatly appreciate it. Outside of that, I think that's about it for the law enforcement budget.
I'd like to get in Judge Crane.
Yes, all right. Any questions for me on anything? I know that was a lot, so.
I was just gonna add, I had visited with Hunter, I'm not sure I do with him, but you know, when we get into September and we see he's gonna have these excess funds, we can order the vehicles. We probably won't get them by the end of September, but those funds, then we can encumber them on the next year's budget. And after the process, it will add to the funds for next year of funds that we held on to this year, you know, he's gonna be adding to the reserve, his projected amount for 4 to 6 cars. So we won't actually be able to get the expenditure out because the cars won't be received by September. But in the budget process for 26, we encumber those funds. And then that'll add to his 26 budget.
Unless we need to use those funds to fund some of the increases that they.
Right, we did that for the jail antenna, we did it for the Motorola project.
Or you couldn't use those funds to fund any of the salary change and all.
No, I'm talking about
Because
the other, the operating expenses.
Oh, yes.
The only other idea, I'm sorry, I don't mean to keep you- the only other idea that the sheriff and I had actually discussed one day, and hopefully we can get together and have a discussion on it, because I know the purchase of squad cars is costly on the county. They're not cheap, and they're not gonna get any cheaper as time goes on. Exploring the option of a vehicle fund for the sheriff's office, whether that is the allocation of unused funds from each budget year, basically pumped into a vehicle fund, and whether you make it a county-wide vehicle fund or a vehicle fund specifically for the sheriff's office. Vehicles are not going to get any cheaper, and the equipment to upfit them is not going to get any cheaper either. And it's going to be to the point probably within the decade where you're going to spend $100,000 per squad car. That's the way it's going. So on that same token, with the need for squad cars and the need to rotate them out, if you don't want to finance them and you don't want to pay the interest on them, a vehicle fund in our idea was the best way to go. However you do that, leftover funds through the fiscal year. However, I just wanted to kind of throw that idea out there just to see if it's something that maybe we could discuss in the future. So thank y'all. You have any other questions or anything?
Thank you.
Thank y'all. Appreciate it.
Thank you, guys. Thank you, Judge Crane.
Well, I got good news and bad news. Just don't put me on.
I'll take that.
No.
How do you want to?
Good news, my presentation is not near as long as Tim's.
That's news all day.
And I'm not gonna ask for near as much money either. Okay, there were a couple legislative bills that passed that are gonna necessitate a little bit of increase in my budget. One was Senate Bill 387, which is increased the bond amount for county court of law judges hearing guardianship cases from 100,000 to 500,000. I contacted Beverly Pashonsky over there at Hill County Insurance and got a quote. The total amount for 4 years is 7,000, which is going to be a 4-year increase of 5,600. Breaking that down, I've got it goes into effect September 1st. So instead of having to do a budget amendment for this year, I've got enough in my current budget. We'll be able to handle that. And I've also got a line item of 2,000, and we have not come close to using that amount. But given the increase, I am going to ask for a little bit more, and that's going to be on line item 2303. So I'm asking for a $200 increase, and I should be able to absorb the rest of that. The rest of the below, the salaries and benefits, the operating expenses and supplies, everything else is pretty much the same. Nothing major on that. The other increase that you're going to see is going to come in the form of the Senate Bill 293, which is the statutory increase for judicial pay. That rose significantly. We, as judges, we have not had a raise in over a decade. So while county employees have received the COLA increases, we didn't get those. So that's a substantial raise. You're going to not only pay me, but Judge Lewis, Mark Pratt and.
This will be
as well.
the same thing that, County Attorney David Holmes spoke on. He gave us a short brief.
Okay, and I included the bill and a brief synopsis from the Office of Court Administration in my packet to you. But if you have any questions about those salaries, I have those charts that I'll be happy to give to you. My increase overall is for my budget for salaries, I'm requesting 49,000. And that's about it. Do you have any questions about salary increases or the bond increase?
The charts that he submitted in the back are pretty good charts. They break it down.
It also
If you read the text of the bill, it's complicated. The charts make it look really simple.
It also allowed counties to increase the county supplement from 18,000 to $25,000. So I do want to advise the court that is included in the budget numbers that I've requested for 25, 26. Okay.
Thank you, sir.
All right. Thank y'all very much.
Judge,
Yes.
so I know at one time when they did this, then you had to factor in the longevity pay of the district. Or this and such, but your numbers are on the CCL.
That is
8
correct.
plus years or.
And note that the 234 for 12 plus years or 8 plus years rather, that is the minimum. Okay,
Right.
with the county longevity pay, I don't know what the court's gonna do with longevity pay, but that can go all the way up to 240 for my side.
Okay.
Okay.
And does that include juvenile board or not?
No, this 234 does include juvenile. So if you will look at my proposed requested budget, the juvenile board stayed at 60/50. However, the salary portion goes up from 62.2 to 122.9. So that would include the increase for the county sub from 18 to 15 goes from that one. And the longevity pay, that has its own line item in
Okay,
1122.
those total 3.
And as long as that doesn't go over at $10,000 for my position, then I'm okay.
Okay. So those 3 items, your top 3 items equal to 234.
Plus longevity, correct.
Right, yeah, not including.
Correct. Okay,
Gotcha.
clear as mud.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Have a good day.
Thank you, Judge.
She has nothing in here, so there's
I
nothing there.
She brought it just for you.
Too late.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you.
What's this one? Then I'll just give you this one.
For the salaries, I used the salary survey that Rachel sent out to everybody. And I just, like I said, I didn't even add the 3% or whatever we're using. I didn't even add that in there. I just hooked everybody up to what they, like a level, I think it was a 4. I have levels, 2 level 2s that are just moving up from level 1. The longevity, I think, is going to be around the same. The overtime, we've talked a lot about this in my office, and having overtime is just a little bit, I mean, it's not a whole lot. But the only way that we could not have overtime would be to close at 4:30. And I don't know that anybody would want to do
I
that.
can let you do that.
Well, I'm just saying, we did it for a little while because of the overtime issue. And when you close at 4:30, all of my clerks, all of my girls balance that night, ready to go at 8 o'clock the next morning. We were sure to leave at 5 o'clock. When we close at 5 o'clock, we normally have people in there till at least 5:10. You can go back and look at our timesheets, all of my girls' timesheets. Nobody's really getting out of there before 5:10. So we're always gonna have overtime. I don't know if that's that big of a deal or an issue for y'all, but we're always gonna have overtime.
So this projected year end number, that 1943, is that a
I would
pretty
imagine that, yes, that's probably about
roundabout
that,
way?
yeah,
Okay,
yeah. And that's for
Yeah,
everybody.
yeah, yeah.
That's not,
because you're not looking at hours past 5, you're looking at
they're minutes, but they do,
Yeah,
add
yeah.
up, you know what I mean?
15 half hour.
Right.
Be 2,000 going forward.
That's what I was thinking.
Do what?
Probably ought to be 2,000 going forward.
Yeah, I think so.
That seems,
If that's fine with y'all, it's fine with me.
all right.
So I just skipped over the social security stuff.
Yeah,
Or the
no.
benefits. Okay, good. So memberships and dues, we have, two more girls, Liz, or, Amber and Scarlett, who are gonna be going to school this year. So far, we have with their PCC, which is a professional county collector. We get the cheat sheet out here. PCC is a professional county collector. I have my PCC, Brenna has her PCC, Diane has her PCC, and Liz has her PCC. Brenna and I both have our CTOP, which is a county tax office professional. And I'm one class away from having a PCAC, which is a professional county assessor collector. One class, and you can only take these classes at a fall conference, which we don't always go to a fall conference just because with school, we went over our budget a little bit in training this year, but I have made my girls not order any supplies. So we have a little bit more money in supplies, so that should offset that. That being said, instead of $375, their membership dues, I think, are $75 a piece, so that bumps up to $525. The training and mileage, because we are, two more girls are gonna be starting their classes. And right now they only offer classes in Conroe and Longview. And so they have to drive and they have to stay. Towards the end, Diane and Liz paired up and went to a lot of their classes together. And as they got closer to the end, I'm like, just stay the same. So we saved a little bit of money there. And I don't think that Amber and Scarlett would mind doing that. But I want to keep that at $6,000 if that's okay. Bonds and insurance, I assume it's going to be around the same. Contract services is going to bump up to $718 because of the new RTS computer that we're going to get. And I need to get a copy of that.
Yes.
Because I'll just send it right over.
Yeah, dude.
Oh, from Nicole. Yes, I'll get it from Nicole. Supplies stayed the same. Postage went up $10. The company that we use, I don't know, they have like levels of, I guess, like assistance. So for $250, it's kind of just like, hey, we sent your taxes out. This is, like they just let us know that they've done it. I think it goes all the way up to about $750. And supposedly you can get some sort of a tracking on. There's no way that we can track every single piece of mail that they send out, but I don't know. But we went ahead and just went with the $250. It's what we've done every year. And nothing's changed. So in software maintenance and support, It is 75,808. That went up. We're using a different software company to do our truth and taxation. And they run our website. And you can make payments to the website. You can do the whole. Actually, I'd have to run the website, but they, I guess, provide the domain. I don't know. I don't know what it is that they do, but it's through them.
Talking about Harris Silver.
Yeah, except for it's BIS. They contracted out to a different company, but anyway. And let's see, telephone. I don't really know how much my phone bill is, but I put exactly the same as what it was before. Oh, did I say postage already? We did that one. Okay, yeah. And in that packet that I give y'all, I mean, I thought it was kind of interesting stuff that. Susan, did I get it today? Oh, hang on. Oh, I did tear it off. Sorry. I just kind of went through last year's commission revenue versus what we have collected so far this year. For ad valorem and motor vehicle. Last year for ad valorem, it was $651,329. And this year through the end of June, so through the end of last month, it's $612,257 for motor vehicle registration. And so remember that at the beginning of the year, we get to keep all of our funds that we get from the state. And then in April or May, we get to keep almost all of our motor vehicle sales tax for what we collected for that month. So for last year, it was $1,150,347. This year through the end of June, what we've collected for motor vehicle and sales tax is $1,065,362.18.
You're gonna outpace both of them.
Do what?
You're gonna outpace both.
I am, you're right. The next page is just the production that we've done in motor vehicle for the year. And it's got the FY24 and then the 25 so far. It's through June. And so I don't know, I like to go back and look at the bottom number to see, you know, in January of last year, we did 3,910 transactions. This year we did 5,730 transactions. I don't know. So it's kind of fun just to keep up with that. Also, I've spoke a little bit about it on in court today. Or was it today?
Yes.
Days are mixed up.
Yes.
Like I've been here for a really long time. Getting the new motor vehicle computer because all of the dealers are having to go to web dealers. So they submit their paperwork through basically through scanning it into the computer, and we approve it, and then they destroy the titles, I suppose. I don't really know what they do to the titles, but they don't send them to the state. So all of it's on the computer. And we stay busy. I don't know if you know that or not, but we stay busy all of the time. We have a little door situation. We try to kind of fix it with the lights or we ordered a light, the one that you sent, and it plugs in, so it's USB and it doesn't reach. So we just sent it back and we're like, okay, we'll figure something else out. But I would love, we can just take the door and move it right to the middle. If that's ever an option, if we're ever going to do anything, any kind of construction or anything over there, just keep me in mind. This is very hard for people to come in here and the person on 5, that's all the way down there. Oh, I almost forgot most important part. It's all the way down there. They can't hear. No, I mean, they're screaming at them to come down. With my salaries, sorry, I want to take I would love to just have another full-time person, but I would take having my part-time person now to just being a full-time person. So we have 5 full-time clerks on the counter rather than 4 on the counter and then 1 that just floats around. Right now, we don't have a part-timer. We have all full-time people, but I would love to just get rid of the part-time person and have her go to full-time.
And you built that in here.
It is. Let's see. Another kind of fun thing that and I'm not gonna give it to y'all, I can, whenever we go into like later on meetings, I can. For the fiscal year of 2024. 34,769,000, you don't have this in your package. $612 is what we ran through my office for everything that we collect for. That's motor vehicle, property taxes, boats, everything, hotel, motel, everything that we collect for. And that was last year. That was the full fiscal year. For this year, right now, and I actually did this up until yesterday at 5 o'clock. It's 35,115,159. So we've already beat what we did last year. That lets you know kind of how busy we are. We still have, the rest of July, August, and September. So
like, I'm looking at your chart, in December of 24, you guys did 3,333 transactions. And so that would be 107 transactions per day on average. That's pretty.
ongoing. Oh, yes. Yes.
Listen, on average, 107 transactions.
Yes. Yeah. And this is just, these are just motor vehicle registrations and titles. This doesn't, there's not really, they don't provide a report that we can get everything like our 30-day permits or really any of our permits. I think that's about it. But I mean, that's yeah. And for the very last page, I didn't go over that one because it's just kind of very sporadic too. It doesn't include any of the fees, but as of yesterday at 5 o'clock, the amount of property taxes just entering in a property account number and paying it was 24,950 transactions from October to yesterday at 5 o'clock. So we stay really busy over there.
Any questions? What?
Sounds good.
Thank you, ma'am.
Thank you.
No. This is around back. I put holes in there. I'm sorry. I have no whole sections right quick. After this year, I won't have anybody else really left to train, so it'll just be maintaining hours. Yeah. It'll just be maintaining hours at that point.
Well, this year, we budgeted 6,000, but you spent 8,200.
I did.
So, but you're thinking you're gonna go back to the 6,000, you don't think you spend as much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Or at least a cushion.
It's
That's abuse. That's called abuse.
They did 3 courses in a matter of 3 weeks, which that never happens. But yeah, no, it won't be that much.
What do we?
Who's up next?
Sheriff.
Come back.
Sheriff came back.
Oh, wait, they're not done. They aren't done, they're not done.
Oh, they're done.
Oh, okay.
We gotta get-
We're gonna do a
Look,
Put the hook on.
we're gonna talk about that in just one.
Okay.
But would you like to go ahead and name?
Sure. Or sorry, I was supposed to turn in something ahead of time.
No, you-
I was on vacation. I know, rarity that I get to go to vacation.
And then get your paper.
And here's another copy of our audit. I think I turned one in earlier,
Yes, sir.
but
We,
make sure that y'all have it.
You get two.
thank you.
Alrighty. Are we all ready for my little spiel?
Yes, ma'am.
It sounds like it'll be a lot easier than sure.
That's what everybody promised you. Welcome.
No.
No?
No. No. No.
Yeah. All right, well, I'm Sarah Gardner, so it's my second year to get to be the executive director of Casa Hill County. And we really want to thank y'all for including us in your budget.
Hey.
Well, we want to thank y'all for including us in your budget. The financial support that we get from the county and just the moral support and all the support that y'all give us is amazing, and it allows us to keep serving our kiddos. And so I'm going to tell you a little bit about Casa. You probably already know all these things. But I'm just going to remind you about who we are. So it stands for Court Appointed Special Advocates. Our advocates are trained volunteers from all walks of life who serve as a voice for our abused and neglected children here in Hill County's foster care system. Each of our volunteers completes an extensive 30 hours of training, observes court proceedings, undergoes background checks and interviews, and is sworn in by Judge Matt Green, the county court at law judge, to serve as guardian ad litem in accordance with Texas Family Code. Casa Hill County was founded in 2018 to serve after McLennan County left this area to focus on their own county. And we officially were welcomed in September of 2018 as the 72nd member program of Texas Casa. And our first executive director, Don Rawls, was appointed in November of that year, and he continues to serve on our board and as an advocate today. We're committed to speaking for the best interests of abused and neglected children. When a child is removed from their homes, the judge appoints both a Casa advocate and attorney ad litem. While the attorney ad litem must speak for the legal interest of the child, our advocates provide an independent best interest recommendation to the court. Once assigned, the advocates work closely with everyone involved on the case, from CPS workers and attorneys to teachers, doctors, foster families, biological relatives, and even friends, to gather a full picture of the child's life and needs. We meet with the children monthly, attend school and medical appointments, participate in meetings, and submit written reports to the court. Texas law requires the court to determine a child's permanent placement within 1 year, and our advocates are with each child every step of the way and sometimes beyond. Since our founding, we've grown both in advocates and the number of children that we serve. While this growth reflects our success, it also points to the increasing needs in our community. Casa advocates are often the one consistent adult in a child's life during what can be a frightening and unstable time. As one of our longtime volunteers, Rhodey Rawls, says, but for Casa. Because in many cases, if it weren't for Casa, a child might go without critical emotional, education, or medical support. Advocates help find family placements, work with schools for educational plans, support visitation with siblings or friends, and advocate for normalcy and stability in children's lives. Many children maintain contact with their Casa long after their case ends because of the unique bond formed at such a pivotal time. In the last year, our small staff of 4 has trained 8 new advocates and 5 more in 2025. We have also hosted 2 social work interns, further building future advocacy in our area. As with any growing program, our financial needs have increased. In 2023, our primary funding source through Texas Casa reduced our grants by $21,000. And we're again advised to anticipate further 15% reductions for this coming fiscal year. Currently, 75 Casa programs operate across Texas, and many receive county support. To continue providing these vital services that we do for our Hill County children, we're respectfully requesting that the Commissioners Court enter into an agreement to provide $30,000 in county funding. This funding represents only a portion of our total operating budget, but this is a critical part of sustaining our work. I've included our previous year's audit and our current proposed budget in your packet for review. So on the second page, I think,
maybe that was the third, I don't know. I don't remember. There's the proposed use of the $30,000 from the county. And I've also included our operating budget for the next year. We are hoping to add a position, a full-time position, an additional supervisor who will also work with our families to pursue CDC applications through an OVAG grant, which is the Victims Assistance Program, and as well as serve as a supervisor, supervising cases, because many of our supervisors are nearing their max, what we are legally allowed to carry as a supervisor. I myself carry a caseload of 9. Most executive directors don't carry a caseload, and they recommend us not taking more than 3. But my supervisors are at their max capacity, so I have to take. Huh?
And you're a glutton for punishment.
I'm a glutton for punishment, you're right.
Just have a
We don't
huge
want
heart.
any of our kids to not be served, so.
Just a huge heart.
We do serve 100% of children in Hill County who are removed from their home by CPS. And right now we have raised our volunteer percentage to 87.8% of those children are served with a volunteer advocate, which is up tremendously in the last 2 years. We were struggling to hit 70%, and now we're almost getting to 90. So
Good job.
Still do the bingo.
we do. It's coming up in about a month. Yes, and we're already sold out. I think we have a couple of individual tickets left, but we sold out pretty quick this year, so it's exciting.
On your 25 stats,
Yes,
you show the number of cases 62,
yes,
number of children 90,
yes.
but then down under there, you show total new cases 18.
So those are new cases that came in 20.
So are a bunch of these kids repeat cases?
Any cases that are continued from the previous year. We do have some cases that are repeat, but those numbers we have a total of 62 cases, or I didn't keep looking myself.
It's 26 for this year so far.
That means that those are just new cases that have come into the court this year. It doesn't necessarily mean they aren't repeat kids, but they're new cases that were removed in 2025. So many of our cases are continued from the previous year because they either haven't achieved permanency or they're still within that year of the parents who are trying to regain custody.
So how do you get all that away from the parents? I see the ads in the reporter all the time. So evidently there's a whole bunch of kids that their parents are basically too sorry to do anything for them.
Let's see, so it's,
Well,
so right now, that's what you can put it, right now in Hill County, we have 90 children that are in CPS. Some of those children are in permanent custody of the state, meaning their parental rights were terminated. And they're looking for permanency. They may already be in their adoptive home. We're just trying to get through the legal process of adoption, or they may be searching for that permanent home. And then there's children who are in temporary custody of the state, which means their parents are still working services to try to regain custody.
None of this is.
No,
This process.
But I mean, it's so sad that
I
there's
agree.
2 kids.
I think I always say it's really sad that I have to have this job. I would love there to be a year where I get to come to them and be like, hey, we're closing our doors. Here's your money back. They don't need us anymore, but
Not reality.
that is not reality, unfortunately.
But we are glad that you are here.
Amen.
Thank you.
Blessed to have.
Thank you.
In some cases, a lot of these kids are better off in that foster home that will take care of them.
Many times that is true, and we'll continue to advocate for those kiddos to stay where they are if that's what's in their best interest.
Any questions?
Sounds good to me.
Okay,
Let somebody do it.
Thank you.
Me too.
I wouldn't do that.
I don't think I could.
well, you know, if you ever want to volunteer, you know.
Yeah, sure. Yeah, you look like them. I would need to find out, yeah. Well, I got some. Well, we got an emergency needs.
No, I was gonna address that. I just didn't know if you want to take a break first. All right, let's do it. I didn't look at,
Having such a good time.
I didn't look at you, Max.
Because your legs are numb, you can't get up.
So emergency management, No, we haven't. Emergency management. Is in here.
It's pretty close to that side.
So. The emergency management director by statute is myself. What the state of Texas says. Yeah. So regardless of who the coordinator is. No matter what, I'm still the signature on the page that requires maybe the emergency management director. What I have decided is that I will be October 1, I will be naming Chris Jackson as the emergency management coordinator, Sergeant Jackson with the sheriff's office. I feel like that this is going to streamline our emergency management responses, as well as hopefully budgeting. We'll see how this works.
You'll have to restrap his pickup again?
No, we're taking, yeah. So what I would like to see is that the emergency management budget would then go under the sheriff's office as a division of the sheriff's office. So you would have 911 dispatch, you'd have jail, you'd have emergency. That budget would be worked by Sergeant Jackson and the chief deputy and the sheriff. Well, I'm getting there. And that way, it's a seamless response. We've seen in this last month and a half, some situations that have arose where having the emergency management coordinator plug directly into the sheriff's office has been a major benefit in cutting down time response, as well as sharing assets and equipment. So with this move, what I'm proposing is that the current salary head salary will transfer over to the sheriff's office. Sergeant Jackson would be promoted to Lieutenant Jackson, as he would also be taking on the duties of supervising dispatch. Also, I see these things falling together very well because not only are you the emergency management coordinator, you deal with the radios and you're over supervising dispatch. It all seamlessly meshes pretty well to make that salary correct with the sheriff's office. There will be a small increase to that, the current emergency management salary to cover the lieutenant pay. It's not very much. All of the other line items will this would mean that Chris Clark would go to the sheriff's office and work for the sheriff under the Department of Emergency Management. He will be our radio administrator. The proposed salary for Chris Clark would be $65,000. But sorry, I believe that's what we spoke about.
What it says.
He is not a sworn peace officer, and so we didn't think it appropriate to pay him as a sworn peace officer. He does have some pretty handy skills with radios, and he is continuing his education in that realm. But as of right now, that's the proposed salary for him. As we move down through this budget, dues and membership is going to be lowered to $500. Training and mileage will be lowered to $5,000. Bonds and insurance is the same game. We played with bonds and insurance for everyone that's walked in here. It's going to go up. Contract services is going to go from $15,000 to $17,500. And that will be for, sorry guys, the contract services and emergency
Contract services, so that covers everything. So we have an active alert count. That covers our next link service level agreement for microwaves. It covers Axon Air. It covers our radar subscription.
And so for instance, with the Axon Air program, what that is the drone. Is that drone sense? Okay. So what happens is when the drone takes off, it sends an email to myself, the sheriff, chief deputy, whoever we want it to, that says Jackson's flying the drone. This would be very good, specifically if there might be a fire in one of the precincts. We can pull that up on our phone or a tablet. And walk what Jackson is doing from his point of view on.
And also it's directly integrated with the FAA for us to do all of our reporting if we were to fly outside of. Part 107 license and we did fly under the county's.
Take that license issues.
For you to fly?
No.
Oh, how many people can have?
Would have out the check.
Okay.
I know that there's a certain amount they let them buffer, if you're not. Using it to fly a drone, you're just using it for viewing, there's a buffer limit of what they'll let you before they'll charge you. But like when we went down to Williamson County, if you did not have this, you could not fly a drone. Because with drone sense, when we go to another jurisdiction, we can type in a code. And then now we're all linked together. Same thing where if you have multiple drones flying in Hill County. We can all see each other, we can see what each other see, where we're at, what the elevation. we're at.
That covers all your FAA stuff and everything.
Yes.
So this, again, I've spoken with Tom Hemrick and told him about this. He's not told me his wishes as of yet as to, the sheriff did offer that there is a part-time position in that department. So the sheriff offered him a part-time position, to where, he would still work for the county if he wished. He has not told me his wishes either way as of yet on that.
There you go.
This is how we're gonna move this now. I believe it's the best chance, or course of action for the county.
You know, what did we decide when we pay a little bit of utilities out of the jail for the towers, or we
Yes,
gonna
ma'am.
put the towers in maintenance, or do we wanna run them through the emergency management? It would be good to get them out of the jail.
So that is something we found when I was learning the budget of the jail when I first got there, is there were some bills that I was like, we're paying somebody's electric bill. Over on this random street. Well, come to find out, it's one of our radio towers. So we weren't paying somebody's electric bill, it was ours, or somebody's of the counties. I do think it'd be more appropriate to come out of emergency management if we would put a line item in that. You know,
Add utility.
yeah.
And then repairs for the towers and the.
I would
Does
do.
this repair cover everybody, the tower and the radios and that?
So that is something that Jackson and I had discussed. The repair line item is fairly vague in this department. There's so much equipment that they have. So is he repairing his vehicle, or is he repairing a generator, or the boat, or the tower? So it might make it a little more clear, transparent, to maybe break that out into a couple different lines of maybe like equipment repair, vehicle repair. I'm not sure what our options are, but I feel like it would be a little more transparent, and we would have a good sense of what it's costing us to work on a boat or work on generators. Those things.
Be more specific with that.
Yeah, I just think it'd be a little more transparent.
Okay, let me see what we can come up with. The vehicle equipment and the. And tower.
Yes.
Is the flood plan going, is that gonna go with care?
That's my plan right now. It is. One of the things that I've been trying to kick around is the idea of a public works department. This department would not be over streets or roads. This would combine 911 addressing, floodplain management. Subdivision plats, rules, regulations. It's not the sign, but actually physically putting up the 911 addressing signs. OSSF. Cartograph, like we're basically taking multiple departments instead of them all floating out here and kind of being no one really supervising them, all under one roof. Those dreams kind of got shattered today. No, I'm joking. We're gonna have to work real hard to make that happen. I don't know, it's not gonna look like I want it to, year one.
maybe next year.
Right, but I do think we need to make strides to line all that out. I would like to push the floodplain management supplement to, Karen. What's her name? McClendon, thank you. Karen, Miss McClendon, she's already doing the majority of those services, so I think that would be appropriate. If it stays there forever and ever, I doubt it. But I think, one, I have to have that person. And we have to do it before October 1st. It's not something we need to kick down the road. I need to get her enrolled. She needs to start doing her classes, all that stuff. So I'd like to just put that there. That way it's not a last minute thing. I've been discussing OSSF. I've been discussing OSSF with the sheriff. I would like to see OSSF moved to, I'd like to see OSSF put in the Public Works Department and that deputy go back to the sheriff's office. Then he has another deputy to put out on the street and I can hire a civilian to do the OSSF job, which we can pay less than the deputy. The big deal here is with making a new department, what is it gonna look like? Does this mean we're hiring more people? Does this mean we're just restructuring?
Combination of both.
It's a combination of both. Now, we do have an elected official that's expressed interest in running this. That elected official is our elected county surveyor. Right now, he is unpaid, or he does not have a salary, or benefits from the county. I believe that we should be fine with benefits, as he is an elected official. But if he were to take this on, he would be requesting a salary that he has not ever requested before. Now, before, his duties for the county were very limited in scope, mostly helping us with subdivision rules and regulations and making sure we're not messing that up because it's pretty detailed.
But you have to, for any of the things, not all of them, but most of the things in that department that you just listed, you're gonna need an engineer anyway.
I believe so.
And you're not gonna find one any better than him there.
I don't think I could find one very cheaply. At all. No,
He may not be cheap.
he's not.
Now, if we put this under an elected official, is that what that office is gonna be from now on? Or when Jesse retires or gets tired of it? Is it gonna be a higher position?
That's, well, that, I would think, because statutorily, the county surveyor has no requirement to run. So if you got it, which I don't, many counties don't even have their county surveyor position filled. And they usually sub it out. If they have a duty that needs to be done, they just sub that. So if somebody were to run, come in as county surveyor and said, I'm not. That distinctly could have happened, but got that salary posted on that position. So that is a.
You have to have. That's great.
Yeah. And you're not required to pay a county surveyor. Like a constable, you have to pay a certain amount for whatever, but county surveyor is not required to have.
This position he could fill and he could just happen to be the county surveyor at the same time.
Correct.
So you need to make it a hard position. If we're gonna do this. You could always use that. Oh, sure.
But as I said, you can't be an elected official and hire.
At the same time.
Or the other option is hire a director. Now, I don't think you're gonna get it for what
No.
I can't pay. I can't get an engineer or a surveyor. I can get somebody that maybe works in those realms. But you're not gonna get it.
We had one time a lot cheaper than that. We don't want that again either.
Right.
I know, that's before I got it.
Was it?
You're talking about the union system?
Yes.
I came in after that.
You did.
The only thing I see about this is one more thing we can tell people, well, you know, the sheriff just got this much more money in our budget, you know? So we can blame that on him.
That's not.
What I request you send over there.
Okay.
Yeah, then 50% won't catch it. Yeah, you know, that's the one too.
That's certified, qualified, that can come in do that one for less than $175,000. Probably,
Right.
even if you could do it for that.
Well, yeah, still, when you have the plat meetings, you need him or somebody there to go over all these plats that nobody knows anything else about.
Cause I know, I mean, it's, I don't know about you guys, but when I sit down and look at the plat, I'm like, oh. You know, they get pretty complex, pretty.
No.
There's a map.
Yeah, yeah, and.
All I say is it on the county road.
Right. So having that, even if, so even let's just say your option was, no, we're not gonna use our county surveyor, we're gonna go hire a director. But your county surveyor is still gonna have to be involved in those processes, he has to. And if you utilize the county surveyor, I still see. He's gonna have to reach out to you guys in reference to those plats, then sure, but I see that whole process being streamlined a lot.
Have you floated the idea of him coming in and hiring somebody under him as an apprentice? Because you gotta work for 7, it's harder to be a surveyor in the state of Texas than it is to be a doctor. You got to apprentice for 7 years.
No, that's a simple answer. I don't envision that position always being a surveyor engineer. I just don't know how we can ever afford it. We're in a unique position right now where we have a surveyor that's offering services for a reduced price. That's not gonna happen now. Do I think we might need to stick somebody in there under him to start learning? Will he be a surveyor or she? Will he or she be an engineer? Probably not. But if they're getting on the ground institutional knowledge, then I pay for that.
And if you could kill 2 birds with 1 stone.
I've had people.
An apprentice.
Right.
I've had people call me and say, well, my mother wants to give me an acre and 2 tenths out of a 50-acre tract. What I need to do? I said, well, you need to have it planted or call 582-4020.
I know, thank you. Yes, thank you. They call me like I'm a surveyor.
But they don't understand the fact that it has to be platted and surveyed.
Well, and there are some, even in these subdivision rules and regulations meetings that we've had to review some of these plats. We've identified some issues with even our newest set of subdivision rules and regulations that we've just adopted.
They keep coming up.
And yeah, they do, but like we don't have a family exemption in our rules, in our current rules, but by statute, there is a family exemption, regardless if we put it.
Like his daughter has this 53-acre tract and she wants to give her mother acre put a house on. That still has to be planted.
It has to be on my own.
That's what I'm told.
Yeah, it has to be. Correct. Is that the way we understand today?
It is. It is a minor plat. If you had the family exemption, it'd take all the rest of the things out.
Yeah, you could, yeah. But we're gonna have to look at this. But there's some other things. But
We're gonna be busy.
yeah, we got stuff to do.
So on this one, so did we take Jackson out of the sheriff's law enforcement budget? To put him over here or
So-
get 2 places?
Yes.
And I get 2 salaries, salary.
No, that's not true.
So take
So
this.
right now, he's coming out of the sheriff's office budget as the admin sergeant. He was hired there, he left emergency management.
And this is going in precinct 2.
Close, it's gonna go west, but stop at the sheriff's office.
Which is actually in precinct 3.
Listen.
It won't make it all the way.
So. Once this budget
Okay,
moves
so
under,
y'all saying, so you have that budgeted for that administrative.
right now, it's budgeted right now, October 1. It will turn to Lieutenant Jackson, and this budget will start being utilized by the sheriff's.
Yeah, the sheriff's office is retaining that admin sergeant position.
Correct.
Right, okay.
So, as clear as well, it seems very simple in my head, I know I can't do you guys. But I'm not happy with that. So any questions on the emergency management? That's what we're addressing right now. No questions? Questions, okay, no, sorry.
Sounds like a plan.
Okay. Miss Susan, is that good?
Yeah.
Miss Parker, are you? Okay. Yes, sir, sure.
Do you wanna go over the other half of it?
The upgrade, that's mandatory.
Yeah, well, yes. Are you talking about radio line item?
Yes, sir.
Okay, so the radio line item, there is a one-time expense coming up.
No, sir.
No, oh, no, that was the spelling upgrade. I'm sorry. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, and I will say, so the number that's presented right now is padded because of tariffs and the fact that we won't be able to do this until October 1st and everything that's involved. But so we need, as of right now, the safety number is $150,000 to start doing our yearly preventative maintenance on our over $2 million radio system. Going forward, once we lock in that it is a 5-year contract with David Wells, which will present to the court. And they'll give us a definitive number. As of right now, it's only supposed to be 120 the first year, I think. And then 60 something for the 4 years after that. And then the contract will be up for discussion and then for the next 5 years. But it's adding that 150 just for that, because we don't know what inflation or anything else is gonna do to that number that they've given us 2 months ago. That's been, then they actually send a technician out to every single tower site, every server site, and they physically inspect the equipment. They test all the lines, they test the antennas, they do any software upgrades on the servers, because everything in this radio system now is 100% IT related now. And obviously it's all servers, switches.
So this 220 has got the 150 plus the 60.
So it's the 220 it has, so that line item historically was the expense side of our revenue side. So all the municipalities and jurisdictions that are in the county pay to help support the system and upgrades and all that kind of stuff. And it's the goal when that fund was set. You'll remember it was approved to be a rollover fund, so every year, whatever the funds were left, rolled over into the next year. So that way, if we had a failure, a switch went out, a server went out, or anything like that. Then we had money to be able to replace those, or, I mean, the last time actually, I think when we had to replace the line for the VHF type system, it was like $8,000. So that way we had money there to be able to replace those high dollar things without having to come back and ask for unbudgeted funds.
So you're talking about the revenues coming in from all these other licenses.
As
With
right
us
now, it's projected.
going into a sinking fund for that purpose.
So.
So yeah, so like right now, we're expecting the revenue $70,000
Okay.
for that. So
But
that is dead. That's already, that's what we've been, last year it was 75, this year we lost. A couple record companies and something else, so it went down to 70, but we're asking for 150 additional on top of that. Because again, we have to do the maintenance, the preventative maintenance, but we still need money there in case something fails. A lightning strike, an act of God, wind blows, a dish out of line, anything like that. So we still have to have those funds there to make emergency repairs on top of.
So where do the funds go presently?
They're in general fund, the revenues are going to general fund, we don't have them set up as a rollover fund.
Oh, okay.
That's the first I've ever heard.
That
of
was,
Well, I'm betting that was
Anyway, but
a
we.
verbal agreement.
Right, that's fine, but I mean, we spent more than we took in, so I would say we had no rollover the first year. So,
I didn't spend any more. We had budget, there was a budget amendment where they added the money from the jail BDA. But we didn't expend it any more money than the new revenue that we were put in.
out of the one line, that's.
Correct.
Yes, you're going with the one line, okay.
So do we need to go up on a monthly fee then?
I'm sorry.
Do we need to go up on our monthly fee? Can we charge $15?
Highly against that.
Huh.
Highly against going up on the fee. We, right now, for the size system and county that we are, it is a very reasonable and cost-effective fee. You go in bigger systems like McLennan County, Waco, McLennan County, or North Texas, they charge a little bit higher. I think, or Waco charges, I think, $10 more. McLennan County, I think, charges $20 more than we did. Ours right now is $15 for radio per month. So I wouldn't recommend going up.
So you'd probably lose some contracts.
I'm sorry.
You probably lose some contracts.
Well, not only that, I mean, you gotta look at it too, the county is the primary user of the radio system. We have other jurisdictions, like the ESD is the second, actually, sorry, the city of Hillsborough actually, I think is the largest. Then it comes down to Hill County, and then the ESDs, and then the three other municipalities under that. So I mean, say, yeah, the county is the largest user of it. So that's why I said I wouldn't go up on the fee because we're the biggest user.
So sometimes all the other counties around us, like y'all been talking about, will that create more cost or more revenue, or is that just a big thing?
Not, it just creates more interoperability.
So. But basically that 220 number, that 150 is in there.
Plus 70.
Plus that.
Plus $150 million, yeah, or 1.5 being spent to get this thing kicked off.
So that's where I'm clarifying that 80%, don't quote me on that number, but a vast majority of the system has not been through the county pop. It has all been through grants, either the ARPA or Homeland Security. The county, the biggest expense the county has paid out of their dollars was the bidirectional amplifier for the jail. Everything else in the grand scheme of the nearly $2 million system that this is, has all been the grants.
You go tell.
Yeah.
Even the tower in Melody, that's all thank months that are put in.
Do we have any questions about that?
Looks good. I like the strategy and structure.
There is a couple of things that I did want to talk about as we were talking about emergency management and public works deal. It's the first time we've ever been able to sit down at the table and talk about them all together at once. Was the public works system or the public works department, whatever we call it. ESD has approached us about helping some funding in that department. ESD2. They know that we put out the 911 signs. Those are crucial for them to be able to get ambulance, which is where they're supposed to go when they're supposed to get there. So they are looking at maybe putting some funding off to us for that, which could help offset some of the cost of that public works department. Another thing that I'd like to talk to ESD about is the amount of ambulance calls that we're fielding for them, and talk about maybe monetizing that in some way as well to help offset maybe either some radio, emergency management, or dispatch costs wherever we can stick that. That's most appropriate, that would help the county. So look out for those talks in the future. What's next?
When we talk about that, would we be would advise to invite them in on the meeting to?
Yeah, I'd like to have them come because I'd like to see what their thoughts are on what
their
they're
facial expression.
Yeah. I'd like to see. They came and met with me and they're really looking to be a good partner with the county. ESD2, ESD1 as well. Both of them are really trying to be good partners with the county. They offer two different things. One over the other, but
And Duncan had mentioned that.
Yeah. Mr. Duncan and someone else came in and sat with me and we talked for a good time about it. And they're really trying to be involved in the community, help out the community as much as they can within their realm of service. All right.
When I found him to take that job, I didn't know how good he was going to be.
That was a good pick.
Never coming up.
Yes, sir.
Something on Mr. Duncan, That y'all probably didn't know, Critter sent to Williamson County, to Liberty Hill. He spoke with all of them and advised them to keep all the receipts, and the DSD would refund them for every expense they spent. So, great, sorry, I'm not sure, great. But he was, very, that was very great for him to do that. I mean, we had volunteer firemen going, several hours. And to give that money back to them to use in our community was, I thought it was very good.
That's DSD one's turning the corner.
And I think it's great things. So, Mr. Cantrell, do you want to go ahead?
Yep.
I was leaving you off.
Ready to finish this thing off?
What need be?
Nobody wants to take it.
Take one and pass it around. Before we go in and pass it over to Mr. Lake, please.
Thank you.
So good afternoon. My proposal is much simpler than a lot of the stuff we've been covering this afternoon, so. Really, it's just two line items that I'm proposing increases to, software and maintenance and contract services. And at the handout that I just handed everyone, at the top, we can see what was budgeted for FY 24-25. The proposed increases, now some of these, I'll just go line by line. The first 4 increases are actually things that we've already committed to. Hold on one second. Yes, sir.
It's a computer.
Oh, it's on the computer.
I was looking for IT.
Found you.
Yeah.
Go ahead. Sorry.
So,
Code word.
It's up towards this front. Yeah, it says computer. Yeah.
so the proposed increases to my software and maintenance line, we've got we recently upgraded our license tier with the Cartograph software, which all the commissioners use. So we upgraded from whatever the other tier level was. Now we're at the enterprise level. Basically, that gives us unlimited users, and it also allows us to have there's a certain type of asset, a custom asset builder for the flood.
It was,
The soil conservation.
Yes. So we have an annual contract with Cartograph, and this is an increase to that contract. So it's an additional $7,500 a year to take us to the enterprise level license tier. And we've already agreed to that. So this is I'm just reflecting that increase. Same thing
Does
on.
that include training
No,
at
sir.
the enterprise level or not?
No, sir. No, it's unlimited users. We had 10 users before, but really the main reason why we did it was for that custom asset for the soil conservation. Yes, sir. That was the primary reason. Second line item, the Odyssey Navigator. Every year, Tyler, we all love Tyler. They go up on us every single year. This is the amount that they're going to be going up. I receive a letter every year that tells us, well, this year it's going to be this much more. So that's what that number is. Okay, the next one is a big one. And you gentlemen may remember, we upgraded our CrowdStrike license tier. We are now under what they call Falcon Complete, which is just active monitoring, where the folks at CrowdStrike, if we have any kind of a security incident, IT cyber incident, they can see it and take remediation steps to fix it. So it's a cheap price to pay to have some real good, strong technical minds at our, kind of in our back pocket, so to speak. So but that gets us to, that gives us the extra support from CrowdStrike. And we purchased some additional licensing on that as well. And I'm going to talk about that in just a second. Same thing. So in the next line, the Solutions 2 increase, that's another one that we've already, Judge, we recently just signed the contract. You signed the contract with Motorola for us to upgrade the Spillman server for the sheriff's office. And so as a part of that new solution, that new server infrastructure that we're going to be getting from Motorola, there's an increase to this Solutions 2. Solutions 2 is remote support They do backups, they make sure that all of our software is patched up. And that's just the increase to the cost of those folks, for that. At the very bottom, I'm gonna jump all the way down to the very bottom. That's the number that, I think you mentioned something just a few minutes ago, Judge, about
Yes.
yeah, that's the number that we've got to come up with from contingency, I believe.
Yes.
So,
So this is the Spillman upgrade. We talked about this in court, 1 or 2 courts ago. 2 courts ago, where I planned to pay for this at a one-time expense. And then the expense that is gonna carry on is that Solutions 2.
correct.
And, but obviously that's very small compared to the actual project, so the actual project itself is quite substantial.
So under my software and maintenance line, the first 4 lines are actually contracts and agreements that we've already signed off on. The next 3 are my asks. So there's a piece of software called Ninja One that is going to allow us to remotely install software, remotely manage Windows updates on all the workstations throughout the county, where we wouldn't have to physically go to all of these systems. It can provide some advanced reporting that we can use for CJIS compliance. It's and for under $5,000 a year, it's a really good deal for all that software does. It's really slick stuff. And I would like to ask the court to please consider Ninja One for that Hill County IT. The next one is Malwarebytes. So we actually run kind of a 2-headed approach to cybersecurity here. We run CrowdStrike, which I've talked about. We also run Malwarebytes. I like to have 2 different pieces of software protecting us. We already run both of these pieces of software. Malwarebytes, the county's growing. We're at capacity. We're actually over our limit a little bit. We're currently at 250. So that $750 just increases our license count from 250 computers to 300. Then the last one is FileBound, and Ms. Parker had brought something to my attention a little while ago. Well, FileBound is what, so I don't know if any of you all remember a software called OnBase. It's a document management system that we used in-house. It was very expensive and they didn't want to work with us, so we moved away from them. So we've moved to another piece of software called FileBound. FileBound it's a cloud, so FileBound is better in the sense that it's cloud-based. The OnBase system was on-prem, so we had to, manage our own backups and so forth. FileBound, we are currently licensed for 100,000 documents. That's how many, the way that they do their licensing is not by users, it's by number of documents. We're currently licensed for 100,000 documents. And really what we did was we exported all of the treasurer's office documents, and that includes HR and payables and everything else, out of OnBase and then imported it into FileBound. That put us at about 78,000 documents. So, and the way that their licensing works, we're at the bottom tier of 100,000 documents. It jumps up from there to 250,000 documents. That's the next tier up. So it's a little over $2,200 a year to go from 100,000 documents to 250,000 documents.
How much is the next tier?
$1 million. Dollars?
$1 million?
No, I'm sorry. 1 million documents. That's a big jump. No, 1 million documents. I don't know the price. I probably have it in an email, Commissioner, but I don't know.
So they don't have anything in between 250 and $1 million. It's just.
As far as number of documents,
Yeah.
no, sir. No, that's the next jump. But
That's pricey.
with the currently we have about 78,000 documents out of our 100,000 that we're licensed for. That's all treasurer's office files. The district clerk would like to, because I think she may have mentioned a really cumbersome method to go through a series of spreadsheets to try to find the thing that you're looking for. Well, it works, but it is super cumbersome. But we can upgrade to the 250,000 license tier for a little over $2,200 a year and have enough room now to import in all of the district clerk documents. That's going to put us, I want to say hers were around 40,000 documents, and that's going to put us at around 115, 120. So we'll have plenty of room to grow within FileBound, even up to the 250,000 document limit. To Ms. Parker's point, she was asking if Susan, if you're looking for a system that you can upload files to in the cloud, we may have a solution here for you, especially.
That's what I said in my presentation.
Oh, that's right. I didn't hear you. Okay, I'm sorry.
So would that help you, Nicole?
we could potentially use it for.
Or no.
And Philip,
Yes,
I'm
ma'am.
not actively adding to that system. I use Content Manager, which is a Tyler product now for my. channel.
Yes.
And so eventually some of those 70,000 documents will age out according to the law library retention schedule. The HR, not so much, but the accounts payables, yes. So eventually some of my documents. can-
Mhm.
Correct, and since I'm not actively adding to it anymore, I'll have a very minimal amount in there just from a payroll HR perspective. And that's a 75-year limit from the law library.
Any questions on any of those?
If I could just
Oh,
add.
great.
Since
Yes,
we
ma'am.
have this thing where we have to keep the documents all these years before we ever get rid of any documents, since we pay road construction materials with these documents that are now in file bound, we need to be cognizant of that when we get ready to think we can get rid of some things.
Yes.
There's still record retention, maybe not for accounts payable documents, but for grant purposes, there might be some conflicts there.
And it will be a dual control thing. I would obviously, visit with the auditor. and all
Yeah,
that.
I'm not gonna delete anything without talking to a handful of people first.
Sounds like to me you already ate up your 250. You need to go find out what the next tier is what. it
Okay.
costs.
We're a long way from that.
I say go to the million, I'll get in on this. Sounds great.
So,
You might have to split the cost with it.
maybe so. So I've got it highlighted there. You can see the increase to my software and maintenance line. That's the increased total. So then just below that is the number for the total number for my software and maintenance line that I'm requesting for this next year's budget. Anyone have any questions on that stuff? Moving down to contract services, this one's really easy. That's what we're budgeted there. The only thing I'm asking for, and really this is just a one-time expense, so I don't know how you might want to handle this. We can run it through my contract services, maybe, unless you, Judge or Susan, maybe you guys have a different idea. Really, it's a proposal from our camera vendor, Christian Cabling Group, also known as Science. But so this is for them to replace all of the outside cameras of the sheriff's office. That's the majority of the expense. The external cameras, they're old, they're very dingy and cloudy, and they're you can't see very well. They don't zoom in, they don't have the range, and they don't have the zoom capabilities that the new ones have. I really don't know how old those existing cameras are, but Sheriff and Chief were asking about getting those replaced. So I have a proposal in my hand that would replace all of those cameras around the sheriff's office. It's also going to add 2 cameras that Nicole, I believe, did you and Marshall maybe, I know over at the EOC, if you're going into the back records retention area, there's a camera on each side of the door. When you first walk in, there's a camera up on the wall that faces back. But as you walk back, there are no cameras. And I think they both wanted to have one because one side's kind of county clerk side, and one's, so we were going to add one camera on each side back at the EOC. So this proposal replaces all the cameras around the sheriff's office, adds 2 cameras at the EOC, and also we have 3 different camera systems. I hate that. I don't like that. I want to get down to, one, uniform system. We have Digital Watchdog, which we have at the sheriff's office, we have at AgriLife, and we have at Covington. We like Digital Watchdog. We also have another piece of software called Salient. Salient's good camera software. We have that here at the courthouse, and we have it over at the EOC. This proposal also includes upgrading and replacing the 2 Salient servers and moving them over to Digital Watchdog. So that would put us more on a common platform. Those are the only 2 places where we have Salient, is here in the EOC. The other camera system that we have is the Bosch camera system, which the Bosch cameras are good. They're a little clunky, but as it stands right now, we spent so much money on those that I can't justify replacing them anytime soon. We need to use them and get some life out of them. But eventually, I want to replace those Bosch cameras and move everything to Digital Watchdog. That's the long term, 3 to 5 years. But so this proposal would replace the 2 camera servers here at the courthouse and the EOC, move them from Salient to Digital Watchdog, replace all the outside cameras at the sheriff's office, and add 2 cameras in the records retention room, area of the EOC. And that's what, and then that number, you see the increased total number there in the 41. So really, that's just a one-time expense. So I don't know if it's correct to run it through my contract services line, or if there's a better way to handle that expense, or.
Probably have to split it between capital outlay and contract service, get the proposal, but I mean, just have the total in there and I mean.
I have the proposal.
So in your contract services, you're asking for 76 total,
Correct.
and that includes this.
Yes, sir.
Okay.
Yeah, it includes my normal budget amount plus the proposal.
Awesome.
That's it.
And then the Monroe Spillman upgrade, that one isn't in this sheet at all, correct?
That is not in the sheet at all because I believe we had discussed you were gonna move that, pay that from contingency.
So, but I gotta put it.
Oh,
somewhere first,
okay, yeah.
Would capital outlay be the appropriate place for that? Sure.
Do we want that in IT or I guess.
I'm good with that.
And that's for the new year or we ordered that, I'm trying to say what we did.
We've ordered it, but it won't be.
Oh, we don't have to do anything until next.
Correct. So
Okay, so yeah, we need to probably put that in capital.
We just got a budget for it.
Agreement's already been signed. They won't invoice us until after October 1st.
Alright, any questions?
That's all I got.
What camera system do we have at the Pevington?
Digital watchdog.
And Philip, what's that $30,000 that we're giving back to the general fund?
Yes, so there was also, so if we, and that would have been in my software and maintenance line as well. So, yeah, I did not, thank you, Rachel, I did not account for that. So we could actually reduce that bottom line number, that 549 by 30.
In software maintenance?
Yes, sir.
Thank you for identifying that.
Yeah, thank you.
By how much? 30,000.
$30,000.
It has, and no one was really.
It had too many discrepancies in the software and had a lot of major data breaches when you started digging into it, and it just wasn't itself.
Sure. Like it. All right, any other questions for Philip? Philip, we surely appreciate it.
Thank you, yes, sir.
All right. Mr. Mason. Perfect timing.
How are y'all?
Good, well, how are you, sir?
Yeah, you're the tail end today, so then the trade.
I'm the last one. So everybody else is in here?
Close.
Yeah, when you're last, it's all spent, that's right. Well, it's a good thing I'm not asking for anything above what statute requires, okay? So, but I will say this. Just so the Commissioners Court is aware.
He's not in this one. Sorry, go ahead, Nelson.
Just so you guys are aware of what we do for the county here in Hill County that no other probation department does in this entire state. We do a number of things. We collect money. Now, there are a few probation departments in the state that may collect restitution, but we don't collect court costs, fines, and things of that nature. I can tell you right now, we're on course to probably collect somewhere between $225,000 and $250,000 just in court costs and fines. This year, we've already collected over $100,000 in victim restitution. But not very many probation departments collect county money. That's number one. Number two, no probation department other than Hill County actually types original court orders for the district court and for the county court at law. It just doesn't happen. Number one, we're not attorneys, but we've developed a level of trust with the courts and with the prosecutors to where, we've been doing that for some time now. There's a cost to that. I don't have to tell you all that, but there's a cost, obviously. And another thing that we do is we type amended orders that, and it saves tying up the court to actually having to hear a case. So we'll type an amended order, we'll take it over to the prosecutor, get their signatures, take it up to the courts, get their signatures, and we're out the door. Probation continues with some modification. That's it. So that's not really that uncommon.
with probation departments. However, it could go a different way, and it's called an order to modify, which would require a court hearing and really some type of determination on that. So from a judge. And that really saves, and just having been able to do, for example, if we're in court and Mark says, hey, I'd like to do an order to amend, we'll pull this case back, or this these allegations back, do an order to amend, we'll bring it in that way. So we'll withdraw the case in order to keep it from going forward without requiring it, additional steps on their end. So there's some cost savings there. Listen, I'm not wanting to come in here today and say we need to come up with a plan to reimburse or, to pay the probation department extra money. But I will tell you this, and the county judge can actually call and contact his peers and find out many, and I say a good deal of counties actually help financially their probation department. I've taken those stance, don't invite the fox into the hen house. So, if other than what's in statute, I've never come in here and asked for a penny other than maybe some paint or maybe I'll put a door up. But the reality is the way the state is going, we didn't get any increases. Everything we got this year was pretty much budgeted. We did get a little bit in our basic supervision funding. So to explain our budgets, we've really got multiple budgets inside our basic funding line. We did get a little bit of a bump in that cost of living type, not for salaries, not entirely for salaries. But we did get a little bit in that we got $700 in our community corrections budget. So we now get somewhere around $80,000 a year for that. We do have diversionary program grants that help us run our substance abuse program and our sex offender program. And out of that, I'm having to ship $100,000 roughly every year just to cover those two grants to help with counseling. Now, what I'm going to have to do this year, which we did some years ago, many years ago, probably 15 or 20 years ago, and even longer than that, we had the defendants reimburse us for counseling expenses. We're going to have to go back to that. It's just got to that point. The state did allocate, well, let me just say this. They gave parole officers 15% increases. They got correction officers 10% increase through TDCJ. They sent probation officers, I'm gonna say around 3.5%. They didn't give anything for the support staff, nothing whatsoever. Just minimizing the value of support staffs that we have. Without them, we would not function, but they did not do that. I had a long discussion with the TDCJ director down there in Austin, and really expressed my concerns and everything, and as it relates to them just kind of turning their nose to our support staff. The reality is, it's hard to hire a probation officer. I'm not going to deny that. We finally got a young man. I thought about bringing him today, but just so he could see what this was all about. And we're fortunate to have him, because before I hired him, we just had two guys over there. And that was me and Keith. Y'all know Keith. That's a lot of work for two men as far as drug tests go, because we drug test a lot. So Robert is helping ease that. But Robert is a young guy. He's from California. He was in the Army, moved to Texas to get away from California, him and his wife. He has a master's degree from a school out there. That makes 4 of us at the department that have at least a master's degree. We'll soon have a 5th out of 12 people. When I started in Hill County, October will be 20 years ago, we had 27 employees at the probation department. We're down to 12. And that was by design, because we were overstaffed. And I really cut that back a lot. I'm thinking that at some point in the future, the way if we progress, then we may be able to get down to 11. It doesn't give us a lot in case someone is sick, but at the same time, I think we'll be able to manage, but we're not there yet. We're working on it. Our software program, which y'all were talking about a while ago, every year they get better, and it provides us with a little more flexibility to do some things. So we're fortunate to have CSS helping us through this. They're our software provider. But in any event, we've got good people. I've never had a crew over there, and we've had good groups, but I've never had a group that's as sound as this one. As far as, and they're young. We got some young folks, but they're dedicated and I'm proud of them. No drama in my department. I just don't like drama. You know, we all have a job to do. You know, leave whatever talk is over at the courthouse, over at the courthouse. We don't get in the middle of it. And so there's no drama in my department. Used to be, not anymore. So that's the way we like it over there. We're here to serve the courts. Obviously, the people, the citizens of Hill County as well, but our job is to serve the judges, and that's what I do. They're taking a responsibility away from the judges starting September 1. They will no longer be over CSCD budgets. I always have to go, and if you're in the hearing next month, you'll see how that goes. If you want to see how, you know, that's what we do every year, or every biennium, every year really, but especially the biennium, because this is our big budget. But starting next year, the state is taking that away from the judges. So the only responsibility the judges will have for the probation department is to hire and fire me. That's it. And hire and fire the director. They're systematically pulling all of the responsibilities, at least since I've been in probation, away from the director and sending it straight back to Austin. So it will not be long before we're a state agency full-fledged. And there was a reason why they wanted us to be independent governmental agencies, so we couldn't be controlled by one way or the other. But that's being taken away from the judges. As y'all may know, our insurance comes from ERS, from the state, but we are happy to be with TCDRS as far as retirement goes. It's just better, and we don't want to change that and hope it doesn't change. But anyways, in a nutshell, that's it. I do want to have discussions with the Commissioners Court at some point regarding what I mentioned today, as far as potentially in the future, looking at ways to help reimburse or fund the department in some way, shape, or form. But I don't want to throw that on the Commissioners Court without discussion beforehand. That's just not me. So we'll have discussion, see what we can do. And I'm not expecting the Commissioners Court or the county to just have an open checkbook for the department. But as time gets tough, you know, with the department, we're looking at different revenue streams in order to help us stay afloat. So we provide a great service to this county as well. So just something so y'all can think about. And at y'all's pleasure, I'll be more than happy to sit down with y'all and have a meeting. So
What bucket does the 225 go to?
do what now?
What bucket does the 225 go to?
What booklet does it?
Bucket. As that money comes in, y'all collect.
Oh, I see. Okay, I see. You're talking about for the fine and court cost? Yeah.
Yeah, so where does it go?
Well, we send it to the county treasurer, and what she does with it, you'll have to ask her.
Two different ways, we posted 3 different ways on the books, and the first line, Susan helped me out here, goes to ACO. Goes to CSC.
Well, the district clerk gets a certain amount of money that then they just post their money through the Odyssey system. And then, of course, the funds go to his own budget, the basic supervision, and
It's 3 different.
funds his people.
Yeah, we collect our money, of course, the CSCD money, probation fees. Some fines go to us by statute or by law. All of our drug testing fees are class fees, everything like that. Of course, we separate that. And then we have a group that goes directly to the county. Attorney's fees, fines, court costs, and then the restitution is like another lump sum. So we all keep them separated.
Well, another thing that probation does is they monitor bond conditions and GPS conditions. So if someone were to come to jail for assault, family violence per se, Judge Jeton puts a bond condition on them and GPS interlock. Every county does that differently. There's no one statutorily required to monitor those things. It doesn't make much sense to put them on. We don't monitor them. I've met JPs that have to do it by themselves. So they're personally getting their cell phone call about a guy that's breaking his GPS monitoring device. An agreement was made a while back. It's been years now. Where for instance, DWI, guy gets DWI second, third, or the child, whatever. The magistrate, Judge Tom, orders ignition interlock, he's got to blow into it to get his car to start. Those are all monitored through APO. They've graciously taken that on because in reality, their duties are post, right? Not pre.
Yeah, I didn't even think to mention the bonds.
Yeah. So they're taking on this work before that person's even in the system at all. Their case isn't even filed. The judge doesn't even know that case exists, and probation is taking on those duties, and they do not have to.
And I spend I take care of that just because I don't want to have other people worried about doing that as well. So and I'm up a lot at night. Been dealing with Hector, well, I'm not gonna say the name, been dealing with a young man and his, and it was no fault of his GPS monitor was not working. It was buzzing throughout the night. I'm trying to help him get it fixed. I couldn't get a hold of RMS for, and when I do, they're wanting them to come in. I'm like, well, that's not going to fix the situation now. And so, I mean, there's a lot of nights that I'm up trying to work, and I don't want this to sound like I'm up every night. That's not what it is. But there are some nights, and I spend a lot of time on bond cases, people that aren't even on probation. So, so it's just a conversation I'd like for us to have, and so we can just, but I just wanted to let you know what we do for the county and listen, I'm not asking for money right now. I'm just wanting to have that discussion that maybe we can figure it out in the future.
Your situation over there, do you have an
Oh, I have.
alarm or anything? at your-
I've hit on that for many years now. We have no alarm over there, so if someone kicks the door in, nobody's coming. So
That's something for me to look
Yeah.
at. It's kind of.
we used to probably 15, I don't know, maybe 18 years ago. I can't remember that. But the reason I was 20 years ago, because I was trying to get in the building when I was brand new, and I had the code wrong. And sheriff's department was there in 2 minutes.
Right.
So
Well, and I know that we've got usually the bailiff next door, but there's not really a mechanism besides somebody's cell phone to notify.
that's right.
That should be fairly easy.
Yeah, in the middle of the night, I mean, there's no, someone, kicks the door in, there's nobody coming, nobody's gonna know that. So. Yeah, I've missed that for many years, y'all. I just assumed that was in the process, but I've been told that maybe probation getting a new building soon. I don't know. I know there's been some talk of it, or at least that's what I've been told. So. It's been kicked around. Just.
Oh, no. Soon is the.
Yeah, the right word.
I don't know what soon is. I would love to see it soon.
Yeah.
Still do.
Sure, I get it. No, I fully get it. I probably won't be here by the time it happens, but that's okay. I won't worry about it then.
We can't go up in the fourth floor renovation a long time.
Yeah, I built been in this building would have been best, but because we do a lot of our work over here, so. But being in the sheriff's department or next door would be great too. We're over there a lot. Any questions?
Thank you very much.
You bet.
Does anybody have anything else? There's the maintenance budget, courthouse maintenance. What's that? I put them under special, I'm sorry. They're under special budgets. Basically, I propose very little change in this. I would like to talk about, anybody have any questions on it or observations or input just right off of that? I do have a question for, I guess, Miss Susan. It shows the current budget year on the Selbach Museum is 20,000 and we haven't spent any. Is that a yearly expense we send to them? We just haven't sent it yet? Traditionally?
Okay, first we pay the insurance on the property and then we have been sending them the balance, so we usually send it in July or August. And of course, this paying out, we pay just like the insurance.
So I'm gonna adjust that back to the 20,000 that it was.
Yes.
And then basically I didn't change any of these numbers. Oh. Yes, I did. The Huron Annex, 14017430. I didn't know where to stick that money, but that difference reflects the roof repair.
The roof repair.
And I don't know if that's the proper place to put it,
That's fine.
but that's where I put it, and that will help with the roof repair on that building. In addition to what it was last year. Every other line item I kept the same, except supplies, I lowered $500 because we don't, on the first page, we haven't been spending it. Traditionally, not even close. That's what I got for, that's what I'm proposing for.
Sounds good.
Anything else?
What are we gonna do about the repairing these buildings from the hail?
I don't know. So I'm guessing. They're gonna give us.
They want to meet with us, I think, in the next week or so, but I guess they'll give us some money and we'll have to. Go out for bid and get some contractors, to do these repairs for us.
Correct. And I'd like to go out for bid, like I said, on the roof guy, if we've already got him online, he's already done work for us, if that's the easy button. And he's not the most expensive in the entire world, then I'd like to do that. The windows are gonna be a whole separate issue. And I believe it's the civil guy has been looking at all of our windows, because all of them need to be re-sealed. And when the wind blows and it rains at the same time, water comes in them, because there are no seals on windows anymore. It is a historic building. Of course, there's a couple of options to completely replace them through a historic company. But I'm gonna say we're not probably gonna entertain those. So I would like to repair them as best we can. But I don't feel like we can do the full project. See, anything else?
When will be the next meeting?
Oh, hold on, Miss Parker.
About home development and some of the systems that I don't think we've hit on.
Okay, hold on, let me find it.
Well, right behind that, one is your public citizen.
They're special.
Yeah, I'll see what grade and probably what
So, public assistance, that's gonna be 5301. Thank you. So 5301, 2410, that's gonna be autopsy and transports. Those are up. That's gonna be when the JPs are sending for autopsy. I did propose a budget of 185,000 this coming. We're sitting at we're projected to hit 173. The problem with it is it's just a difficult number to project. Like,
Yeah.
we don't know if people are gonna die, and we don't know if the JP that shows up is gonna be able to tell what they died from. And they aren't doctors. So and I don't ever want a JP to not send someone because he's worried about fire.
Yeah.
That would be scary.
I can think of.
So, as we go down, I've kept them mostly the same. And then I'm gonna propose that the cost of go to 35. That The next one is Health and Human Services, Tourism, it's completely blank budget. Look at that one,
Wow.
yeah. Well, I'm sorry, no, it's not. The next page. Is payment to other agencies. Miss Susan, can you?
Hey, this is what we pay the city of Hillsborough for our. Tax increment funding, and we get that number from Dale Snyder, so obviously we get that number from him.
Okay. So right now I put the same number that was there last year. We'll get an updated number. The
And
next,
then backing up on that mental illness, that's where we pay for those mental health commitments to Bell County and
yes,
that, so we probably put the money back there.
I'm proposing the same amount. The 6,500.
Okay, we mine doesn't have.
I left it blank, yeah,
Okay,
but I would propose the same amount.
sure.
Cause we're projected at 4,000, but again, it's another one that, how are you gonna guess? It's strictly a guess. After that, we have the probate education. I put 1,000 in there before I knew what it was. So Judge Lewis didn't have to use that, as he stated before, because he was on staff with the education. He never really had to use much of that. I'm gonna change that to proposing to keep the 2,500 for that. Because I almost positive they don't want me to teach them. At least not anytime soon.
The school in August is.
Yeah, the schools, and you know, you get to tap this fund as well. One clerk she can use to this fund as well, so.
I haven't really had to very often.
Right.
We use some this year.
Right. You can see it's not been used very often, but there's a reason it's there, because. You know. Not everyone's on staff there. The next one is language line. I guess I'm gonna change that, as we just had that discussion. It just hasn't ever been used. We're budgeting $500 for it. We've never used any of it.
I told Justin I would forward him, it's part of those, when they revamped the court fees in 2022. Y'all started collecting the language access and the dispute resolution funds. But I told Justin I would look up the statute to see if they needed it to pay for interpreters or not.
Okay,
Just leave that there as placeholder.
I'll leave 500 as a placeholder then on that.
It's funded by what fees have been collected.
Right.
Not the victim.
And then this 251 economic development fund. I wrote all over this before I realized this is not the economic development that I thought. So the staff wages on this, was this what we were paying Ms. Hemrick? It's 25,000, where it's just staff wages?
This nothing's been paid out of this.
I mean,
except
that
the
were-
retail coach, it was budgeted. You know, Justin was gonna try to get, I think, Art Man to come and do some work for us on
Right.
economic development. So no salary's ever been paid out of it, I guess. When he did the figures for last year, he thought we would, but we haven't. The only thing that's actually been paid out of it is the retail coach thing, whatever we're doing with the city of Hillsborough.
And that was just recent, that was.
We just paid
Yeah.
$65,000 or $7,500.
And that would have been out of contract services?
Yes, sir. But I forwarded you the things that it could be spent on.
Yes.
Which is more than some different savings than I thought. Let's see.
But these funds can only be used on those things.
Yes. In the comptroller's letter that they see them. I think it can help the advocate.
I was about to say, I thought I had something that an advocacy center could use these funds.
So maybe. You know, that's how we help them out of there and. We can help them instead of. Of ours. They support children's advocacy center that provides services to abused children. They may develop and administer a program authorized by section B for entering into a tax abatement agreement. So if we I have to read what those.
So if we could use these funds, if we could use these funds for costs, I'd really like to.
Will support a children's advocacy center, this CASA and the center.
You know, we could use those funds.
Would be much. Cause they're not being used now. Except for retail coach.
So we probably would need David's blessing to say we could spend our 35,000 out of this fund, or maybe add. Or maybe add two more.
Yeah.
And. Probably his blessing.
Okay, we'll have about him, and then court preservation. Hasn't been used, there was 1,500 budgeted, I proposed 0. For contract services,
That's,
court preservation.
Those are Nicole's or Michelle's fund, I think that's.
0.
County clerk court preservation.
So I could use some of that money.
For like your minutes or your.
I could use some of those funds to preserve my list, but you see what's in there.
You can't preserve any books with that.
Couldn't preserve anything with that.
Gonna have to have a lot of.
I think getting together the estimated beginning balances and all of these things, so some of those. The money you might be able to increase your expenditures, or you might have to decrease it, maybe you can only spend 500.
It's wrong.
I'm not there yet.
I know who it is, he wants to go with it.
It's just trying to irritate the go 30 minutes.
So just keep this in mind, I'll go back to. I have to report. Constable sheriff's fees.
I don't think that was on the agenda.
I know, but I'm just saying, it's budget.
Anything else?
Don't wanna go up on those fees.
Maybe we should set some more court dates.
So we have the court date, next Monday.
Then you have even days needed, or do you want to do monthly, regular set?
It's supposed to be the tax.
We have court date next Monday and next Tuesday.
What was Monday?
For this year.
It was originally, yeah, so originally when the calendar was adopted last year, the court dates were picked, and then the legislature moved dates around and we had to move this up. So we actually do have a court date scheduled for Monday if we think we need to have one to discuss this in more. Do you guys, Tuesday is regular commission. No,
And then we have court
No.
office support.
Tuesday was also supposed to be the old schedule.
So do you think we just need one day or both days?
How about is Tuesday okay? Can we see some contact purpose in there?
What it says there, the.
Say that,
Well, got a doctor's appointment.
It says here certified.
Doctor in local.
On Tuesday, okay, how about the 28th,
That'd be good.
Monday, the 28th at 8:30?
Won't be here.
Won't be here. No, you're gonna, that's one reason why we changed it, right?
Yeah.
You've been married like 100 years.
Mhm.
Yeah.
There was one good year, I just can't remember.
So how long do I need that update on here? The
On,
Monday meeting. We should be out before 4, so.
good, gosh, I hope so, yeah.
Well, we going over, I won't have time to get all the revenues from the.
We still won't have revenues at all, I think.
What it says here is certified property values on Friday,
We should
Crazy.
have asked Mike today when he was getting those out.
the 25th.
Well, and will he be ready to present a detailed, because you're gonna add it to the agenda, right?
Yes. I think you guys were wanting to talk to him about that, weren't you? So we need to add, Mr. McKibben to, what day are we meeting?
Tuesday.
Tuesday? Okay. We'll be short one commissioner. No, Keith can't be here Tuesday either. So Monday? Eight thirty, Monday morning.
Oh, no.
You run the court.
Yeah, right, yeah. I'm running the 28th at 8:30.
Send me a check.
We'll handle it. We'll handle it. Just leave that little thing. Surely we can figure out how to turn that on.
Yeah, right. Okay, anything else? We're gonna do, correct, we're gonna do Monday the 28th, and we'll do Monday the 4th.
One at a time, one at a time.
Monday the fourth.
Yeah. Post tax rate,
And that's when we,
salaries, elected officials. Hearing on budget.
In the fourth.
That's the budget.
Meeting to vote tax rate.
not of August.
When does the proposed budget have to be?
August 4th, proposed tax rate, proposed elected officials have to be. We're filing them that day, that's why we're having a meeting on the 4th.
It's your last way to follow.
On the fifth, the judge intends to file.
That's,
Proposed budget.
but I intend to file it, or I have to?
You have to.
There is a cutoff.
Intends
Intends to file.
to file.
You get 10 anything.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Turn your schedule of Miss.
I think it is we have to have our proposed budget about the day and then our final due about the 26th.
Here's the statutory date.
The last day for me to file the proposed budget is August 15th.
Yeah.
So I can intend to file one on the 5th, but it has to be filed on the 5th.
Not intended.
That was just a. It's a placeholder.
Seemed like that's what it was last year, was on the 15th.
And then,
That's like one of those little sticky notes you put on your refrigerator.
right, adopt the budget on the 26th, and then of course adopt the M&O and I. All right, Commissioner.
I make a motion, y'all stay longer. Motion adjourned.
Second.